Okay. Unedited reaction to the H.A. Goodman versus Richard Spencer debate. Partially about racism, I guess.
Racism.
Alright. I'm Jordan. He's James. Let's do it.
It's my government name.
Will be kicked out of the chat room.
We will be skipping through to.
Is going to follow
they get
YouTube
off
guidelines.
Whatever.
Yeah.
And
let's fucking lower that a bit.
Without further ado, I want to thank you.
He has some nice
thank you,
white
Richard,
teeth,
for,
doesn't he?
For agreeing to the debate.
He is in LA.
Oh man, look at him.
I want to start
Hair
off really
slick.
quickly. This is from the Library of Congress.
Dressed in black.
And I'm just going to read you this really, really quickly. And I'm going to read you something from Thomas Jefferson's Monticello site. But this is from the Library of Congress, the Boston Massacre. Late in the afternoon of March 5th, 1770, British sentries guarding Boston Customs House shot into a crowd of civilians, killing 3 men and injuring 8, 2 of them mortally. Surrounded by jeering Bostonians, slinging hard-packed snowballs, a small group of soldiers lost control, and one of their number was attacked. The soldiers fired despite explicit orders to the contrary. African-American sailor Crispus Attucks was the first to fall. The only victim of the Boston Massacre, whose name became widely known, Crispus Attucks, was memorialized as the first hero of the American Revolution. This is the Library of Congress. So the first person to exhibit heroism, the first person to die in the American Revolution was a black man, Crispus Attucks. And I'm just going to read you really quickly. This is from the Monticello site. Thomas Jefferson and Sally Hemings. Thomas Jefferson fell in love with an enslaved black woman, and he had, based on DNA evidence, he fell in love with Sally.
So I'm thinking he's going for. Let me freaking read the title of this fucking thing. That might help. Opposing ideologies clash in debate about America's future. Alright, so I guess HA is trying to make the point that America was built on different types of people, not just white people.
Well, that's such a generalized, man, I'm just saying, it's white people. Yo, what does that mean, man? You know? It's a white national state. Yes, man. It's like, what? Just saying, it's weird, you know? Like,
alright, but I think that's HA's opening point there.
Okay.
Hemings, this is well known, and they were in love with each other. And Thomas Jefferson was the father of 6 children of Sally Hemings mentioned in Jefferson's record, including Beverly, Harriet, Madison, and Eston Hemings. So the first man killed in the war for independence from the British was a black man, and one of the founding fathers had children with a black woman and fell in love with a black woman. So from these 2 historical facts,
to me, which mean nothing in this argument.
Yeah, I'm waiting.
Justify, well, I'll let you.
Plus, I could pick that apart real quick. Oh, he loved her. Oh.
I'd just say it's irrelevant.
Maybe. This guy looking real slick. Of course.
Crispus Attucks is a man who was shot by a British soldier. I certainly heard of him before. I just quickly took a glance at Wikipedia. I think he's partially of Native American descent and African descent. So what? In terms of the Sally Hemings case, that is actually far more dubious than you are depicting it. I think you're more or less depicting.
You're on point, buddy.
Mini-series I remember when I was in high school about this.
See his wardrobe.
There's actually, I mean,
black and like nothing color.
Is actually quite.
It's like, damn, dude.
Dubious.
Look at my white headphones.
And there's actually far more reason to believe that.
See why they? I don't.
Relations.
Dude, he even got the fucking like Nazi haircut going on.
The man
you know,
Jefferson
the shaved
was,
sides and
in terms of his intellect demeanor and so on.
We'll hear him if he
is
slips.
it just simply makes sense.
I
It's
feel.
the father of his children. But even if it's true that Thomas Jefferson had children with a house slave,
I raped her too, but whatever.
who cares? So what? Does that mean that identity doesn't exist? Does that mean
It doesn't mean identity
can't
doesn't.
be nationalists? We can't be nationalists.
Oh,
I mean,
no,
I
no.
could make the
It cuts
argument
back and
that
forth.
Jordan fought on behalf of the crown in the French and Indian War. So therefore, how could he conceivably rebel against King George? I mean, it just I don't see any logical connection between those facts and what I believe.
Don't pick your nose.
Well, the
He's like,
are you claiming that you would like a white nation based on American history?
That's an interesting question.
You see
That
it
in
too,
itself
right?
is hilarious.
You see it too when he talks.
What?
Well, go ahead. What?
Oh, it's just funny that he says, "So you want a white nation, with American history?" And he doesn't even brush off it. Like, he just said like a white nation, and he didn't feel anything about that. This Richard Spencer guy. He's like, "Well, what I really want is it's like, wait."
Well, it's when he talks. He's like this. He's like,
It's like, wait a minute.
he's like, well, what I want.
So you live in 2018, and you still want an all-white nation, which I don't think has ever existed, really. Has it?
No. Here?
Definitely not here, but anyway.
I don't know. I mean, look, I heard this from somebody. I heard someone say Italians aren't really white, and I'm like, I don't know about that. And I heard the English.
They're partially black.
Oh, okay. And then I heard the fucking, no, this is silly. I don't give a fuck,
Yeah.
Whatever.
What my concept of the ethno-state is?
My concept.
Well, yeah. I mean, as I saw your debate with
he wants to pick that nose.
with Sargon and Andy Worski and Sticks, and you mentioned that this used to be a white nation, but you can look back at the history of the country, and it was never completely simply a white nation, and end of story. You did have
no nation is ever 101% anything. The whole point really is who comprises the core, who really defines what the American nation was. And there's no
So it'd be like,
question that it wasn't
nothing could be
just
101%.
It was actually
It's either 100% or less.
John Jay,
It's tough to generalize
that God
when
had
that comes
given
at you.
America, that it was this new nation, it was a rebellious nation, it was in this wilderness and frontier, but God had granted the American nation a core character. And he was actually referring to Anglo-Saxon Protestants, not just white Christians. The first Immigration Act, it was a naturalization act
It's
of
some code.
1790.
It's like white people rule.
Again, it was for a
Anytime he
nation
touches his nose.
that there was a people in the frontier in a wilderness.
It's like white
It was
nationalists.
a very different situation than we're in now. And it was a racially based act. Again, this is the first time that question of who are we was answered by American politicians.
Yeah, but
It was
nobody's.
answered as white.
I'm not debating that there was
He's
racism
gonna,
involved with it.
he's gonna die and be like the gates of heaven, like some loud voice. Who are you? I'm white.
Yeah.
Welcome, come in.
A politician told him. A politician back then, when they had slaves. We are white. Oh gosh, well that's not so bad. What about him? Oh, he's red. He doesn't get in. It's like, who are you?
What I'm saying is,
Come on in.
when you say so what,
The red
first
carpet. Except it's
heroism
white.
of a black man who is the first person to die against the British can't be mitigated and it can't be erased and it can't be mitigated, and it's a very important part of the history of the country. The fact that a black man,
I mean,
Pause it.
I would be a little bit revisionist.
Imagine he's just walking, like they're like two sides are arguing, right? And it's like he just like finds like, oh man, is that an apple? Picks it up, trips, whoop, happens to like get shot by accident because someone he like you know what I mean, he fell into the shot. Ah! And now we have now known the history of the United States. Get the eagle. United States, the first black man to die. What war was it?
Revolutionary.
Yeah, imagine that. He just so happened to accidentally get shot. Like, I'm not part of this. Oh God.
Let's be honest about this fairly new claim about Jefferson and Sally Hemings, just because these are facts. Many people dispute these facts.
No, but I mean, the first point I made though was Crispus Attucks.
Crispus Attucks, sure, great. I'm
So
not denying terrorism.
in a let's say for example, 100 years from now you start a movement,
Huh?
and
What was that he said?
and we'll get to that, mitigated when
Before.
it can't be erased, and it can't be mitigated, and
I'll leave it there.
it's a very important part of the history of the country. The fact that a black man,
I mean, I would be a little bit revisionist, to be honest, about this fairly new claim about Jefferson and Sally Hemings, just because these are facts. Many people dispute these facts.
No, but I mean, the first point I made though was Crispus Attucks.
Crispus Attucks, sure, great. I'm
So
not denying terrorism.
Let's say,
the
for
terrorism.
example,
What?
100 years from now you start a movement.
It's like, wait, an
And-
American Revolution?
And we'll get to that,
I'm pretty sure there's plenty of that terrorism going on. Like I've read, and
But he just
to be
called.
fair, they were government issued history textbooks.
But that's the American Revolution, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would classify it as terrorism, but that's how the white guys took over, basically. Right? Took over America.
Yeah.
Because before that, then you just consider the non-English people in America as just slaves of the British Empire. Right? They weren't like, I own this country. It's like, no.
Oh, they took it.
You have land on someone else's land.
That's what.
So they had to
Yeah,
take
yeah.
it.
They showed up. They showed up. Yeah, it's ours now. It's like, well, we were here. We love it. It's like we were here. No, you weren't. So then, well, they didn't. I'm pretty sure a lot of them didn't. A lot of them die from sickness. Whatever. You know what they did. Sort of. So and then I would say the white people showed up and they stayed here, and then the ultra white people. Just kidding. Like British Empire, whatnot, strolled in, took over, and now you're slaves, basically, to them. And then like what are the Native Americans? It's like fuck, man.
Yeah.
So it's like financial slavery.
in a little bit, but your movement starts
Taxes.
from your vision, your ideology. Would school children learn that the first man to fight for independence and actually die was a black man?
Pause it, man.
Sure. I mean,
Yeah, what does that have to do with anything? To be fair, you know,
Well, he's
first
calling
man
out
to
his
die
idea.
for independence.
He's calling out his ideology.
Okay,
Well, he's saying that America's a.
can we move this? Because
What?
like half my face is probably in there. Oh no? Okay.
That's more.
If
half
I go
of
like
my
this.
face.
No, look. If I'm like going like this or right here, yeah. Whatever, I'll do that.
It's kind of
My back is not gonna last for this thing.
whatever.
if it actually is true
Well, it is
I
true.
don't think that.
Crispus Attucks, this is true.
Okay. I'll look. I haven't looked into it myself, so I'll just take it. Sure. But again, I think we might focus on people who were absolutely essential to the founding of the United States and the Revolution. And those were not black people. I think Crispus Attucks. Again, I will go read up on him. I just took a quick. I had heard that name before I took a quick glance on Wikipedia. He seems fine, but the fact that he's black and this individual himself seem utterly dispensable to the revolution. Do you think the revolution would not have occurred if Crispus Attucks had not been the first one shot?
Dude, I can see him in
No, but I think it's very
hood
important to
in a church somewhere
to
going like this.
make the distinction that when you're trying to say
dispensable, like a tool.
Let's have a white nation, and this history of this white nation is white. You have to remember also that it's not entirely white. The first man to die in defense of the nation against the British was a black man. So I think
that
that
fascinating story. It's very interesting. The founding fathers wanted a white nation, and
That's the way he says it.
I don't think the founding fathers
mannerisms.
were white nationalist. Is that term?
That's a fascinating story.
But there
Man,
is,
I don't even care about
and
that.
I would also
It's fun.
acknowledge
I just think he has no
that the
argument.
fathers
Period.
justification
That's all I care about is the argument,
revolutionary
and he
new
has.
state.
I'm still
Nothing.
waiting. This is kind of, I'm not going to say baseless, but
many Enlightenment ideals that you could say are left wing.
I'm waiting for H.A. Goodman
or
to,
at least at the
you know.
foundation of the left.
I don't think he
I
does.
would grant you
No?
all those things. But the fact is,
Maybe.
the founding fathers, without any question, wanted a white nation. There was no real concept of African Americans having equal status.
They wanted a white nation. I'm stealing this from someone, but it's like, all men are created equal. You know what we mean. It was Tosh. But to be fair, like, what does he mean by nation? Does he mean just like generalizing as far as like, this is the way it was already there, or an organized, built,
He means an
established.
organized government. Organized, like, central government. That's what he means. I believe.
To Anglo-Saxons on the continent. It's just simply a fact. When you look at their very first 1790 immigration,
throwing around that word a lot.
They clearly understood
Fact.
the United States as a white country. Throughout the 20th century, even when these things weren't made explicit, and I think they should have been made explicit, everyone in the country understood what an American citizen really was. Now, there was always these two issues, and they're different ones. The first was the Indian question, the Native American question, and the second one was the Negro question. And those were very difficult issues. They did give the United States a different character, you could say. But in terms
in terms of
would dominate the culture, it was never a question. And also in terms of, real quick, and I'll let you talk, in terms of the 1924 Immigration Act, the paradigm of the 1924 Immigration Act was race, period, end of statement. It was also a restrictionist act. It basically, American population had swelled, it was, and so on. But in terms of new people coming in, it was an attempt to match the 1890 census. So this has been the dominant paradigm. It's only really after 1965 that we began to think of immigration and also who we are as a nation as, we're no one. America is just a platform for the world. If you come here and you want to do business or whatever, you're an American. If you believe in the Constitution, you're an American. The fact is, that is a pretty foreign concept.
okay,
to
but
the vast majority of Americans throughout history.
but here's where I have a big issue with
His argument is so dog shit. It's like, let's say there's like a road that led to America. You have like a black guy, a Mexican dude, and a white dude. And they're just running a race to the fucking finish line. Like, whoever touches the American ground first, like, this is what this nation is built on. They were here. See, he crossed the line first. He touched it first. It's his birthright. It's like, get the fuck out.
You know,
Also, culturally,
there's some dude in a chair. It's like, I was here first. We there's like 80 people behind him. Nah, man, we. It's like they don't say. They're just like, white man found his nation. Put the flag down. But we, and they got like some kind, not a flag, but some kind of pole with like drawings on it. But we, no.
Also,
like, fuck, man.
Also, cultures change all the time. There's no set white culture. It doesn't make sense.
I never heard of that. It's not written in stone.
None of it is. It's all influenced by others.
I'm afraid I'm gonna get a silly loophole argument from him, and I'm kind of waiting for Goodman. I'm hearing his like responses, and it's like, yo, what does that got to do with this? Like,
he's trying to argue him with like.
I get he's trying.
Historic facts or whatever.
Yeah, but you don't need to.
No, you don't need to. What I do is bring up morality, which is what I tweeted at him. Like, just make a moral argument.
Do you like it?
Yeah.
Ready? Then you ask him, hey, you liked it. What do you think it means? No, really, I'm not kidding. It's the same fucking thing as going like this. You liked what I said. What do you think I meant? Don't be shy. Oh, you don't know. What are you doing? That's like voting for someone. In my opinion, that's like voting for someone. Like, oh, I don't know, but it's like it's just saying. Look, how long is this? This is like an hour. This is over an hour. This could be over in 5 minutes, right?
It'd probably take time.
I'm just saying.
Might take longer, actually.
How? Because
because he'd have to, the other dude would have to fumble around, do logical loopholes and mental gymnastics to come up with answers.
I don't think it'd take.
He'd have no like historical. See, this happened in history, so he has none of that would happen there.
Look, if none of that works, you take all that out, and it basically comes down to the point of morality.
Yeah, and he would be doing mental gymnastics to try to keep up with the argument.
Well, in my opinion, the debate would already be over. That's what I meant. Like, it shouldn't take this long, you know.
Yeah.
Your viewpoint. You start off. The basis of your viewpoint is, going into the minds of the founding fathers and saying, well, this is what they wanted. With Sally Hemings, for example, Thomas Jefferson fell in love with a black woman. You cannot deny that he wanted that relationship.
I can't deny that. That is really historically dubious. But even
no, wait a second. Let me finish. Okay, so he had a relationship.
Yes, I know how he
with
felt.
a black woman.
Exactly.
If you want to go ahead
it's going to be dubious no matter what.
The fathers wanted.
He fell in love.
And pertaining to race.
Or
well, let's go ahead and do that. Not only was there a sexual relationship between Thomas Jefferson and a black woman, and it's been recorded that there was a love affair there. From 1619 to 1865,
love affair / an affair.
There was slavery and blacks were enslaved. The economic engine of this country, without slavery, you would not have America as a power in the 1800s. Without slavery, you would agree with that, correct?
More or less. I think the...
So hold on, let me just finish my point. Let me just finish my point. If we're both in agreement...
I'll bring you that point to hear what you have to say.
Okay, so if
I'll allow you
don't have...
Go ahead.
King Cotton was the economic engine of the South, and,
What?
You gonna say something?
Oh, it's just, HA should be making an argument that gives him no room to move around, where he's trapped in a corner somewhere.
I was about to say box him in, and it's like,
yeah.
Hey, guess what? You can block your head, but hey, you gotta pee later? Guess what? Blood's gonna come out. Like, that's what it should be. I haven't seen it.
It's simple because he's arguing for a white nation or whatever. Then you should just ask him why. And I'm pretty sure it's going to come down to morality, to where it'd be
quite possibly
we'd be better people or something if it was a white nation. It'd be better.
You think that's where this is
less
going?
crime and all that blah 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 blah.
You think that's where this is going?
You
think that's where this is going?
I think that's the Spencer guy's point.
Because I haven't heard his like his case specifically as far as like right in the beginning where well, this is what I believe and this is why and
They might have skipped that because he's already like a well-known guy.
It's established
because of that.
Okay. Well, just again debate, I thought that was kind of like a common thing, but now I'm kind of like I have to put pieces and like little bits and crumbs together for about an hour to figure out how he really feels. So
this is why you assholes have to subscribe to our channel, so that I can call out Richard Sherman.
Either that, I'll make a bot account
and put a whooping. It's out of the South, those are right.
Stop.
That's the chicken guy, right?
I get it.
Looney Tunes.
Well, one, it's and
a
it's
whooping. Or the bad guy from Wild Wild West.
I didn't see that. Wait, they might think Family Guy. Oh, whooping. Cream whip. Cool whip. My bad. Cool whip. What? Why you put so much emphasis on the H? Yeah, it's cool whip. So he slaps him.
That's one of the big reasons the United States of America was a power in the 1800s. When you remove that factor from 1619, long before the country was founded, to 1865, you have black babies ripped apart from their mothers, sold in front of their mothers. You have husbands and wives ripped apart, families ripped apart, black families, African American families ripped apart during slavery. The founding fathers also wanted slaves as an economic growth engine. The country benefited off this arrangement. It became a power because of
he doesn't have to go
200 years of slavery. And without that, you would not
I don't see the significance of saying this.
And you also wouldn't have had the
I can see the logical reasoning. I can't see the...
I get it. I don't see how this helps
as power. But that's a whole other story. But
you're
going into the minds of the founding fathers saying, yes, they wanted a white nation, but you're ignoring the biggest issues like slavery, like the fact that blacks have fought in every war we've ever had, like the fact that American history is not...
I feel like this debate would be settled for them if he simply said, the Spencer guy was like, well, what I meant was the idea was to be a white nation. But even though it's not 100% white, Goodman's like, oh, okay.
Maybe.
It's not 100% white, but yeah, the idea was to be. Like dude, my head hurts, man.
Not neatly defined in terms of pure white race, and that's it.
Yeah, see?
There's Native American, there's Latino, there's Asian. Yes, you can cite the Chinese Exclusion Act, but you also have to understand, you also have to credit Chinese Americans for building the railroads and their achievements. So what I'm saying to you is simply going into the minds of the founding fathers and saying, well, they wanted a white nation. Yeah, they wanted a lot of things. They also fell in love with black women, and they also enslaved black families for economic growth.
Yeah, they loved them. Yeah.
Okay, I am not going into the minds of founding fathers through telepathy or psychoanalysis. I'm actually looking at what they
exactly. You're not going into psychoanalysis.
Again, this is just clear. This is not my interpretation. This is what they explicitly said. I would agree. There's no question that
this is where to Sarah and be like,
America
knocking on it. Anybody home? Anybody there?
In the 19th century was.
Was it? Here, I think
what say about Glenn?
It's the man in the mansion, hiding beneath the stairwell, crawling. In a fetal position, cowering and shaking. It's like, Jesus Christ.
All you need is one look. You know nobody's home. Nobody's home.
Nobody's home. Nobody.
Slavery you know, in this sense.
Just shows a picture of fucking
without
what's his
slavery,
name?
We had made
Bush Sr.
a radically different choice.
Wasn't it going like this? Going
At
like
some point,
nobody's home.
America was
Close up to his
very
eyes, closer like
different. We
nobody.
have a very different history.
These
No
bee little
question
black
about
guys.
the
Nobody's
Negro
home.
were brought to the continent. We would have had a very different history. But the real thing you have to think about is who is essential in this case. The fact I believe America.
It bothers me with
not a single
Hold on.
Negro, slave, or a member of that race have been brought to the continent. Yes, American history would be wildly different. It would probably be a lot better. All those terrible tragedies that you mentioned about children being ripped away from their mothers would not have occurred, and I think that would have been a much better thing. But America still would have been a superpower at some point. Would have had a different history. Because the essential component
my point is
blacks.
but my
the
point
essential
is
component is whites. Whites made America as a juggernaut.
but whites could not have made America without enslaving black people
It would have been different. I will obviously grant you that. But there are plenty of other examples of nations becoming extremely powerful without the benefit of slavery. Again, slavery was something that existed in a point of time.
It's like highly contradictory to what he said before, as far as yes, I can't go psychoanalysis. Yeah, and you can't
just as easily argue.
You can't predict this. They would have been. How? How do you know that? It would have been better if they didn't do that. How do you know that? People are still people. They're fucked.
Do you think that America
would be
more powerful were it not? I mean,
the Pilgrims, right?
How is that even possible?
Got kicked out. Well, no, they not get kicked out. They left because like the church state thing or whatever the fuck. And I'm like,
from 1619.
I'm pretty sure that was really cool.
To
A king.
200 years.
Everyone was okay with that.
Of free labor.
Yeah, everything was fine. Yeah.
The economic output of which I mean we can go into, but without that free labor, without the millions and millions, so you can't just suddenly create millions and millions of white people to do what enslaved black people were doing for free. And so without that economic engine, there's simply no way America would be.
Slavery was was collapsing over the course of the 19th century. Look, I am granting you this fact that America had, particularly the American South, it had a real slave economy throughout the 18th and 19th centuries. This made it powerful. Certain people benefited from it more than others, and also I would agree with you that slavery, although it was benign in many in perhaps ways that we don't want to acknowledge, that it was a terrible institution that I don't want to repeat at all. All I'm saying is who is the essential factor in this? Whites are the essential factor in this. I mean, if you look at places where, say, freed African slaves, say Africans who overthrew their masters, in the example of Haiti, Haiti has been a disaster of a country over the centuries. It's not entirely Haitians' fault, but the fact.
What?
Lisa, what he's saying is Haitians went out of their way to take all their prime, crops and natural resources and just give them away to European nations. That's what they're like. Fuck, how can we fuck this up?
And the rich people, the rich Haitians, are like that rich compared to, it's like this. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I stroll in, kind of con you in some type of way, or like overthrow you. Listen, you're a leader. You're rich now. You're rich too, right? Yeah. Is that a truckload of the shit you just gave me? No, don't worry about that. You're rich. Okay? Then it's like, hold on. Then, God, this is so bad. This is so bad, man. I don't know
why HA doesn't just ask the question, why do you want a white nation? Like, just ask that and give him the room. Give him 20 minutes. Go ahead. Say why you want this.
I think the question should be is, what do you mean?
I think it should be, why do you want this? And that'll lead to a moral question. It'll lead to,
why do you want it
I think white people are better than blah, blah, blah.
Hold on. Do you mean it to be that him classifying it? No, rather than him wanting it, him saying, No, I believe this is my classification or whatever the fuck. Rather than him wanting it to be that. Like, I want it to be a white nation versus, I want it to be called this because I believe that's what it is. Rather than him, I want it to be a white nation. Like,
no, I think he wants
that. Like, no, I don't know if he wants that, you know?
I think he wants a white nation.
I don't know.
Because
there might have been some, was he, okay.
Why else would he point out that the main factor of, high-class nation building is white?
Maybe he's, well, yeah. I don't know what, I want to hear it.
If he says...
I don't know. Like, if he's going to say some, stupid shit, look at the British Empire, look at this, look at that. And I'm like, Romans?
Okay, if he says this is why it's a white nation, then what is that leading to? Like,
well, it's gonna...
If he classifies, okay, what does that mean then?
I don't know, man.
Does that mean you're superior?
Yeah,
superior?
I get what you mean. I just don't know why he hasn't asked that yet. Goodman.
Yeah.
Which begs the question, is he there as far as that little...
I think he's trying to, play logical sword fighting. He's like...
It's not going to work.
What are you going to do with that move, huh?
It's like, what do you call it? I'm not going to call it purgatory, but it's like a constant no end.
Oh, yeah.
Well, there's a specific word for it.
It's called running laps around the truth rather than running to the truth.
That's not as smart sounding, but I'll go with that. I want to be witty today.
Just running in circles. We'll get there someday.
No, in a way, actually, that's no. It's like what do you call it? It's like two intellectuals playing X's and O's. I win. That means I'm right. Oh yeah, well, try again. First move, second move, yes. 3 in a row. Like this doesn't prove anything. It's like flip a coin.
Yeah.
Like,
it's just whoever's the better speaker wins, rather than whose argument is correct.
All right. What I'm guessing is going to happen is, what's really going to cement your point as far as him morally hoping and maybe thinking that this is a white,
Oh, what would be the point of class?
What was it? White what?
White nation.
White nation. Okay, ready?
What's the point of classifying it as that? Other than to say you're some sort of superior person or whatever.
It's either that,
which will lead to a moral question.
Okay, it's either that or he's using it as how would I say this? I don't want to call it a classification because it's already grouped together with other things, like grouping together as far as these were the overlords, leaders. It was built by them, and we're calling it this.
Yeah, which I think would lead to, then
I don't know.
White people should have the dominant voice in our society.
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think it'd lead that. I think it would just lead to him feeling really stupid and silly. And look at the hours of work I've put behind this. Or you're right, and this is a highly possibility. Look at the background. Look how fake that is. Okay. Now look how it looks very weird. Just wait. And then you see it start glitching a little bit, and then the green screen fucks up. Then all you see is swastikas and all that shit behind him. Because if you know Goodman's like this, there's a bunch of hoods behind him and shit. Fucking KKK members
well, HA's Jewish, so he'd be like,
no. He'd be like this. He'd be like this. Just ready? Wait. It's like this. He's like, HA, you there? And it just shows his mic kind of like someone running away and the fucking plate going. All you hear is Goodman. The camera's on. All you hear is his car keys going.
Oh my God! You have seen what African countries look like. You can find plenty of examples of.
Once again, let's just state that again.
Go back. Let me hear that. 5 seconds, if you can. He said African countries.
Yeah, it's garbage. Yeah, he was talking about Haiti first, and he just went on to African nations, meaning. Yeah. It's like, oh, look how shitty these places are.
That's silly. Yeah, let me hear him.
The example of Haiti. Haiti has been a disaster
Why?
of the country over the centuries. Not entirely Haitians' fault. I wouldn't say that. But the fact is, we have seen what African countries look like. You can find plenty of examples of white countries that did not engage in slavery who became juggernauts.
Yeah, but
there were not African slaves in
By raping and pillaging other countries.
Yeah. Pause it, please.
England.
Like that's how the moral question would destroy him right there. Like, well, how'd they do it? How'd they get here and African nations down here? How'd that happen?
Okay, well, what did he say before that?
He's talking about Haiti?
No.
That?
You said, did you call him superior?
He's basically saying they're superior. He's saying it without saying it.
I'm just trying to be careful here.
He's giving you the definition without the word there.
Yeah, I get it. My intuition is telling me this. At the same time, I don't want to jump to conclusions and call him you're a racist, bro. Like,
I don't even care to say anything like that. I just like picking apart his fucking argument.
well,
And where his argument seems to be leading towards.
this is kind of just silly, man.
100%.
I hit him because he hit me.
But it's definitely interesting.
They'll get you far. And guess what, kid? I want you to breed. Have many children. And teach them what you just learned right now. Then we come back, like, then it's just the same thing as everything else, It's like, oh, look at that.
And
Their morals are top notch, yes.
I can go social and pick them apart. Like, what in where you're at right now, what is actually yours in there? It's like, no, you didn't make that fucking blanket or bed or clothes. Fucking face, skin, features, hair. Someone cut your hair. Your parents gave you your fucking hair. Your parents gave you your skin. Who are you? Like, who are you?
Well, it's like, I do this. Like,
I'm white.
He's like this. He's like, you give it back. I'm like, why? It's mine. What is it? Is it?
That's you being an asshole.
Oh, come on. It's funny. It's funny. You do the same thing.
Yeah, but there wasn't
Do the same shit.
but there wasn't a genocide in Belgium because of black Africans, but there was a genocide in the Congo because of white people and because of King Leopold. So
Bad things.
but when you say, well, look at countries run by black people, there's again, you're ignoring history. The history of
I'm not ignoring
colonialism,
history
imperialism,
in the
all of
slightest
that.
bit.
Yes,
I'm
you
not
are.
ignoring history in the slightest bit. I've actually granted you most of your historical points.
I grant
think
you.
One of the major things that made America what it was in the 19th century was the slave trade. It made it powerful, and certainly some people benefited from that more than any other. All I'm saying is, I would say two things. On the whole, I think Negro slavery has been a terrible thing for the United States.
Negro
It's
slavery.
a short term. And
Yeah, I know.
people who oppose
Even
it,
uses like
not
1960s terms and shit.
Kind of like SJWs of their age.
Yo, he said the
But
Negro
many,
question. I was like, watch him slip.
Republicans,
Watch him slip. And he's like,
for this very reason, they
Picked it up,
thought
Captain
that
Mike.
whites and blacks are fundamentally different.
Watch him.
Included
Watch
among
him
those
slip.
Republicans, by the way, was Abraham Lincoln. If you look at the Lincoln-Douglas debates, again, whatever you want to say about Lincoln, I'm ambivalent actually about him. But if you look at what he explicitly said, not what I'm reading into him, he explicitly said that whites and blacks are different, and that
Yeah, I heard
if
that.
they are put in the same political order, it is only going to result in a superiority and inferiority. In some place like Haiti, we actually had a situation where blacks achieved superiority.
You said superiority and inferiority.
Oh, being fair, maybe he means that feeling of.
Over whites. It was awful and bloody, and it was actually entirely.
Yeah, but you keep bringing up
Go back,
Haiti.
what do you
An example. I mean, we've had
rebellion in
military.
Haiti.
We've had military incursions.
Never mind.
Can I just finish this and then we'll go to Haiti? I promise. So, but also,
I promise.
Abraham Lincoln did see the problem with slavery. He saw it from a racially informed perspective, and he was one of the major figures.
Racially
in the
informed.
What is
recolonization
that? Yeah.
He says it without saying it.
Effectively, a back to Africa.
Pause it.
He was meeting with.
Well, to me, whenever someone says something like that, that's like saying 18%. What does that mean? Don't worry about it. We'll get there.
He's just gonna do mental gymnastics. You got the.
Yeah, it's really weird. Racially informed. What does that mean? Oh, hold on. You need to cut some of this, right?
Nah.
No?
Just throwing it all up.
Oh, okay. I'll be honest, I don't think we're gonna have to like sit through the whole thing.
I might not have to.
Like
whatever.
This might go far enough, you know. To be honest with you.
Why is I'm just throwing it out there?
Oh yeah.
Shit.
Racially
Black
informed.
leaders in the White House to discuss with them a Back to Africa plan. If he had not been assassinated,
If the
who
Chappelle show
knows
still
how
existed,
history actually
and
might
this
have
guy was out here.
Why would you? But why would
The
that?
Back to
be-
Africa
how do you
plan.
tell people who have
A Back to Africa plan. And it fucking shows the White House. Okay, guys.
Subscribe so I can debate this fucker.
Also, you can send us shit. Like donations. Mm-hmm.
Only if you want to.
It's a joke.
And we can live stream again.
Do it. Oh yeah, I would like to live stream something that's.
I would have live streamed this shit, but
I would live stream a bunch of shit.
just to hear like comments, we can fucking.
We'll find a way. I'll get someone that has no soul, like a lawyer, to help us out. Probably no soul. They bury their
been
conscience
here
slightly.
first, who've been here from day one, even before day one, whether it's black citizens, Native Americans were here before anyone from Europe, Latinos, Asian Americans. Why would anyone want to leave if this is their home?
Well, I don't know what to say. Like the what happens over.
I do not know what you're saying. Do that.
When you had this move west across the continent, the sovereignty of the United States followed the movement of white people. As white people advanced, even into some places like in the Southwest, that were under hegemonic dominion of Hispanic, a different sense of that word. Of rule and so on, the United States was spreading as white people spread. It was a white country.
Because they were the ones who called it the United States, and then militarily moved throughout fucking territories and shit.
Yeah, and strategically took them.
You could say that about any race.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, if we militarily take over this territory and then start spreading, it's like, oh, it was moving as the blacks moved.
To be fair,
like, oh no, they were just
I
taking
thought of
space.
like some kind of virus he was describing. They took this area right here, this organism, and they started to spread. It's like, fuck, dude, why you guys sound creepy? But yeah, plenty of people have done that. You know?
Yeah.
Like, oh, we did it, so what? Not we. Not me. I wasn't me. A common speech problem. I don't like people. We, like, no, you weren't there.
Yeah, but
and
that's
they're
not accurate,
really
though.
citizens in the way that whites and blacks actually.
But that's an inaccurate statement, Richard. It's inaccurate to say that Manifest Destiny proves that this is a white nation because you have 500 broken treaties with Native Americans. You have a Mexican-American war, where you have California, Nevada, Arizona, Utah belong to Mexico. You still have in the history that you're talking about, which is some people in the chat room might not understand where I'm coming from, and I don't know why. Which, if they oppose your ideology, it kind of boggles my mind how they don't understand where I'm coming from. My whole point in bringing up, and I understand that you've conceded, many of my points that I made, but if you've conceded the points that I've made, and yes, you are right when you talk about what white people of European descent wanted, or what they believed to be correct. But U.S. history is, you cannot divorce U.S. history or remove the fact that it's not simply white. There are people of Native Americans, Black, Asians, Latinos, who have contributed to the white history that you're talking about. I guess this I guess we've kind of.
I don't think it's necessary.
You've agreed with me on that point, but I guess you.
He's like
he's trying to argue with a point you can't really.
His whole argument was basically him like his taking down his original statement or his theory on a technicality. It's not all entirely white. Then let's say he finally says, "Well, yeah, no. Oh, okay." Then that's it. You know.
See, the Sherman.
That's all I'm hearing.
The Spencer guy's gonna win that argument every time because it was white dudes that spread across whatever and took over territory and shit.
Yes, but what I'm saying is, Goodman keeps saying.
The point is, why do you care to have a white nation? Why do you care to classify it as that, or say that, or anything, or want that?
I don't know.
That'd be the only point I'd be making. Like okay, this happened.
I have to look at his other stuff, to be honest with you, to see if there's any little ticks I see, you know. Other than that, though, this is very
it's purely logical argumentation.
What's this called?
Native peoples to Africans.
Merry-go-round.
But the fact
it's just logic fighting logic.
We won. It seems like the argument.
You can call it logic if you want.
Running around the tree.
And we're losing now. I would actually say that in terms of.
But when you say
losing, in terms of
the
argument, you seem to be making this argument, to the degree to which I understand you, which is that white people did some bad things. I'll concede you that, sure, and that within the rich fabric of American history, other races have been a part of it and contributed to it. Yes, I agree. But none of that means that identity doesn't exist, and none of that actually contradicts my fundamental point.
There it is.
Which is
that should have been the. Say that again. That should have been the stopping point right there.
You hear me? Like, here it comes. Identity.
People in defining the United States. The United States is only
You're here.
what it
Who
is
are
or
you?
was. Because it was
You're right.
white country.
Come on.
Had an Anglo-Protestant core.
Fuck. Here's to enlightenment.
All of the people you mentioned are
Cheers, man.
Like
I don't.
You just say whoever wins a war,
think
it becomes like
200 years of
it
slavery,
becomes
I don't
that.
think that 500 broken treaties with Native Americans.
I
don't think
say Native Americans fought back and won.
The
Native Americans fought back and won. Then it's a Native American nation. Like that's not really saying anything now. It's whoever wins the war it's their like. What does that mean? Who cares?
It means their dicks are bigger, and it means that it's our land.
Like whoever's.
Even though they probably wouldn't say that.
You could essentially say whoever's the most violent and just subduing an enemy. It's their.
Whoever's the most
it's their
violent,
land
oppressing, and dominant, and
it's their land
and by
now.
not dominance, I don't mean any like cool thing about it as far as like physically and all those other things. It's like we're gonna oppress you. Oppress. That means you can't do anything. Literally, without me going, all right.
Like let's say this Spencer guy gathered up, billions of people, and somehow white people, the whites, took over the entire world.
The whites.
Like, this is our world. That's when like nature starts creating like meteors and shit.
Fuck.
It's like, oh, you own this, do you? You're at my mercy now.
We own the ocean.
That's why it's dumb to say you own something like that, or that it's your thing, or it's your race's thing. It's silly.
Get out of my room. Oh, it's yours. Your space in this world. Logically,
achievements and the contribution of everybody from Asian Americans to Native Americans to Black Americans to Latinos, I don't think that can simply be disregarded. For example, I'll just read you this, and I guess we're kind of we'll get into the modern era. Medal of Honor recipient jumps on grenade to save Marines in Vietnam. James Anderson Jr. was born in Los Angeles, California, January 1947. He went to a local junior high for a year and a half, and he decided that his real calling was the Marine Corps. Within a year of enlisting, the private first class was sent to Vietnam on February 28, 1967. Anderson had just celebrated his 20th birthday and his one-year anniversary in the Marines when he was put to the ultimate test. He goes on to talk about
my true calling.
Anderson was serving as a rifleman in Company F,
Murdering
2nd
myself.
Battalion, 3rd Marine Regiment, 3rd Marine Division in Quang Tri Province of Vietnam's Central Coast. He and his platoon were on a mission to rescue a heavily besieged reconnaissance patrol when they came upon heavy fire in the dense jungle northwest of Cam Lo. The platoon reacted quickly and began firing back. Anderson found himself on the ground in a tightly packed group of Marines within about 20 meters of the enemy firing back on them. All of a sudden, a grenade landed within feet of Anderson's head. Without hesitation, Anderson grabbed the grenade, pulled it in his chest, and wrapped himself around it before it detonated. Anderson's body absorbed the blast. He was immediately killed thanks to his actions, though the Marines around him survived with just minor injuries. Most of us would never be able to understand the selflessness and
They survived only minor injuries, but they're mentally, spiritually dead. Possibly. It's just like, fuck, man. Hold on. I don't like this shit. It's like, he should have been like, wait, why am I here? Immediately. Like, if they didn't ask themselves that. And by the way, his point in general is like, there you go again. It's the same fucking thing as the African American guy that was shot in the Revolutionary War. Like, oh, he was the first one to give his life. No, he's first casualty. I don't know how. Even if he did believe in that whole thing, you know, it doesn't really apply to this argument here, you know, as a whole. So it's just. It's been 28 minutes, 57 seconds, and still.
Sacrifice. Anderson's extraordinary valor and the giving of his life to save the men around him can't be overstated, and that's why he received the Medal of Honor posthumously October 21st, 1968. His parents accepted it for him. He was a black man, one of the many African Americans who have won the Medal of Honor, and he was a Marine. So
Look. I honor him. I never heard that story before. Is a fascinating anecdote. But none of
but this is my point. I didn't read it as an anecdote. I read it as the ultimate refutation of your ideology, which is that it's not. You're saying, well, look. Without white people.
Example. If I could dig up an historical example of a white man fighting on behalf of the Japanese Empire in the Second World War, and I'm sure I could. There's got to be one.
Well, no, but this is not. But this is not a white man fighting on behalf. But wait a second. This is not a white man fighting on behalf of the Japanese. This is a Marine. This is an American. This is a man who was born in Los Angeles, an American citizen, a black man, just like Crispus Attucks, just like every black people who have fought, and in every war we've ever had. I don't know how historically and in terms of logic you remove the achievements and accomplishments of blacks, Latinos, Asians. How do you remove that from American history?
I'm not.
That's a good question.
I mean, look, this is structurally speaking. This is why I think we're kind of talking past one another. You are basically thinking about America purely in terms of citizenship. And have there been blacks or Latinos or Asians or transsexual lesbians from Singapore who have done some good stuff or fought in a war or something? Sure, I'm not denying that. But that is your line of argument. You're telling me
it's not my line of argument at all.
Hold on. What do you mean it's not your line of argument?
It's not. I'm not saying that. I'm not simply interjecting the fact that James Anderson jumped on a grenade as this, minor footnote to what you're saying. I'm saying that
kind of
this, huh?
You are. I mean,
no,
look,
I'm not.
Let me finish what I was saying before.
Okay.
So you're basically talking about citizenship, and then you're also talking. You're giving me. I mean, I know you don't want to hear this. You're giving me anecdotes. Some of them more significant than others. Some of them historically dubious. Some of them not. I think the Jefferson anecdote is absolutely historically dubious. The Anderson heroism? Probably is not, and I honor that man for doing that. But you're talking about citizenship and then historical anecdotes, and you're basically saying, how could you show such dishonor to these people who sacrificed everything for their citizenship or what they thought?
I don't think he's saying that at all.
What I am talking about is actually something different. It is nationality, it is identity, it is ideology, and it's also meaning in the sense of what is this country? What is it at its core and its root? What I would also say is when we look at what is happening
So what's
in the
here?
United
That's
States
what it
today,
is.
I actually think both of us
No, he
would
lost.
probably agree
He's open
that,
for body shots
on
now.
the whole, the
He
United
put
States
himself
is
in. He's
headed
this.
in a
Come on.
bad
He's
direction.
doing just this.
And
And this is all open.
That is extreme.
Like
There is
Goodman's like,
fragmentation that is getting very intense. We don't
What do I do?
love one another. We don't all
I
feel
don't know.
like we're on the same team.
identity.
The United States
Ideology,
is
what?
fragmenting, and it's fragmenting on the lines of race, and it's fragmenting on the lines of class to a degree, and it's within
To
the
a
white
degree.
race, no question, and it's also fragmenting on the basis of identity. This is happening right now.
Well,
And so what I'm saying is things that I'm willing to talk about. Conservatives want to talk about citizenship and heroism, the Constitution, all this kind of disembodied stuff. What I am saying is that the bodied stuff, the stuff that's in our DNA, the stuff that's in how we, our sensibilities and mentalities, the real human stuff. This is how the United States is breaking down. It's breaking down on that level. It's not breaking down on this other level.
He might
Do you think
identify.
most African
I disagree.
Americans are acting like Anderson? That they're like, we would sacrifice anything for our country. No, most African Americans don't think
What
of
am I?
themselves.
Well, you're an
as
African
part
American.
of
This is
the
this
same
is how you
nation.
should feel.
Well, I disagree with you on that.
That's
But
what I'm
let me
getting.
just
No.
let me just
As you and I probably do that.
let me just no, but I disagree with you on that. I would actually say that
Sure,
I would
it's
actually
fucking
say that
volume
most
spelling.
African Americans, most Latinos, most Asians, most everybody who lives in this country, I actually disagree with you in terms of the fragmentation. I think that you probably didn't know who I was. You never probably heard of me up until perhaps recently.
Hey,
The
that'll
only
work.
and I say that only because the only reason I heard I know who you
I
are
don't
is
know.
because of Slate, which is a very, very progressive, liberal publication. The only reason that I know about alt-right or white nationalism is not because of conservatives, it's because of the left. And I would say that that's a political, a very vapid political maneuver and propaganda from the left, because they didn't talk about the alt-right during President Obama's tenure by design. They didn't talk about the alt-right because it wasn't politically expedient to do so. Once Trump came to power, suddenly they talked about neo-Nazis marching and all of this, when they marched all throughout Obama's tenure without the uproar. But let me just get real quick to, you mentioned a point. I guess let's try to fast forward.
I would say this, yes, throughout my entire career, conservatives have not only actively.
I'm saying your biggest marketing, the biggest marketing tool you have is the left, not necessarily the right. Unfortunately, from my vantage point, unfortunately, because the left has publicized your movement in order to mask its own shortcomings.
There's no question that as I was saying, throughout my whole career, the conservative movement has, you could say, actively ignored or suppressed not just me and people like me, who are other people in this movement who use their face and name and speak forthrightly about what we believe. There's no question they've done that. They've actually denounced us on many occasions. There was an interesting moment between, say, the early, mid-2015, early 2016, and up to this present day, in which so much of the news coverage we were getting was from the left. And sure, was this an attempt by them to say that
I'm finding this
oh,
extra irrelevant.
look at these terrible people.
Yeah.
I mean, you
Just like,
want to find
Should be
totally
bookmarks.
ridiculous people
You know what I
who
mean?
support Trump
Like,
or whatever.
Pandering.
people
We
who
get to the
are,
point.
honest, a lot more ridiculous than I am. But
No,
yeah,
but
I will actually. I'll finish this. I'll grant you that there was this attempt. Oh yeah, we want to associate Trump with the alt-right and so on. Hillary Clinton denounced us in the summer of 2016, etc. But the fact is, they're not. I'm sure a lot of people who.
It's funny how he uses the word like us a lot and whites and words like that, where he groups a bunch of people all into one thing.
Oh, sure, like this, ready? Oh.
And he also uses the word identity, and I haven't heard anything that that's him.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said earlier. I believe when he says identity, I believe he means, well, what's your ethnicity? Get out. Get out.
All right, I saw a Black Panther review, and somebody kept calling the guy "Get Out."
Really?
Yeah.
You started it. Yeah, you did. You know you did. That guy could be the next fucking Robert De Niro. You know what I mean? Like as far as like a big name, big. And the word goes to, and we're just standing there. I'm like dying. You're like, get out one. That dude like gets snatches it. So you'll get out one. That's his name.
Flat Earth.
Turns out it's
like
actually
that,
is his real
supporting
name.
Trump. I would say most of the people
Like
who
spelled
thought
differently.
Trump was an
It's like
interesting thing.
GEH.
The fact is, the alt-right and the identitarian idea is getting at something real. One of the reasons why what I say is, you could say, tittillating or
Not that this matters, but
fascinating,
he could be one of those guys that talks like
guilty
this.
pleasure,
One of these
for
guys
liberals
that
and
talks
leftists.
like this.
And
He's
so many
can.
conservatives want to denounce us is because we're getting at
He's
something
had a lot of practice.
true. Now, I want my message out there. So I attempt to use the media in the sense that, yes, a lot of these people whom I've talked to over the years are ultimately liberals and don't want me to win and so on. But the media is that. It is a medium. That it is a way to convey a message. And we have benefited much more than we have gotten, than it's been a disadvantage by using the media in order to communicate.
But one
the fact that the New York Times might think it might want a multicultural world in the future. If you can communicate through them and reach people, it is worth it. That has always been my strategy.
My point, though, that I disagree with you on.
But sometimes you have to change things as well, because it's there's with everything good, there's been a lot of bad.
He's not saying a lot here.
But again,
like much to be interpreted here.
As a medium, that is, it's a way
Change things. Like what? What are you talking about?
But you made a point, and you said, well, the country is fracturing apart into different nationality or different identities, and you then made a statement that
It means the same.
Blacks or other ethnic groups don't see themselves as American or don't see themselves as unified. I would argue the opposite. I think that we are a unified nation. I think that Americans of all different ethnicities are very unified. You can see that people who give. Well, just let me finish. You could see that from people who give their lives for the country, people intermarrying, people. You talk everything from food to music, which I'm going to get to in a second. But the media.
90% of marriages are intraracial.
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. But my overall point is.
Hispanics will root for Mexico when they play the United States.
That's fine. But my point.
African Americans are deeply alien.
But let me finish my point.
America, and I actually understand why.
But
using his logic, of course.
Okay. My point is that. I believe that this country is more unified now than it ever was.
So
I think that
it's like
when
it might be literally
when the World Baseball Classic, when America was playing like Dominican Republic, I wasn't rooting for the DR, no, because it was like one of my favorite players. No. So I was like, yes. So no one saw that, right? Okay, go USA.
I think his words are like the definition of races. I don't mean like hate or anything. I mean like you are your race. That's what he's saying. You are what you look like.
He's confusing that with identity.
Yeah, he's saying that's what.
Like
which is
you can't.
racism.
There's no way around it. I've heard that before. Who are you? I'm an African American. And it's like, come back in 10 years and we'll see. It's like a job application. The job is like at the end of the road, if you know what I'm saying. And the movie plays. And after the movie's over, who are you? My name's Phil, and I'm English, and okay. Send him down. Get sent down for some, you know what I mean? The same dude another time. It's like
we should get rid of every minority and every white person that doesn't agree with him. Split them all off into Mexico and Canada. It'd be like him and like 12 dudes in a room waiting for some other country to bomb the shit out of him. Like, we could take this shit now, so I guess it's a Chinese nation now, huh? So that's his argument. That it was him and everyone that believes in his ideas and shit. Just give them the United States. Give that to them. Him and 50 dudes. 50. Trying to maybe like 3 women. Nah. Him and 50 dudes and like 20 women. Take over the entire United States.
Okay.
Watch them get taken over by some other country that doesn't give a fuck. Then they'll change the identity of the nation. That's basically what he's saying.
Imagine,
whoever has the military strength, it's their identity.
Just imagine this. It's like just like he's like you know, he's like on the media or whatever the fuck TV's playing. This is our nation now. It's a white nationalist state, and it was America. This is who we are. Then it shows like, you know, like the 5 months later, like you know, dialogue. North Korea finally overtakes the United States, and then he's on TV again. He's wearing like Korean clothing and shit.
Now this country was funded. We overthrew the rulers, and North Korea's taken over.
He has that fucking weird.
It's the identity of this nation.
He has that like fucking horrible haircut. You know, his hair's black now.
Yeah. He's saying...
He's like this. He's talking. He's like, is that tape on your eyes? Oh, I feel bad now. Fuck it. He's like, I identify as this, because I am. Therefore I am. I am me as an entirety. I am Korean.
He's saying...
Like, fuck, dude, no.
He's saying if the White Walkers take over Game of Thrones, that's their identity now.
Yeah.
I identify as a zombie guy who likes cold weather.
There is nobody home. The doorbell has been rung many times, and nobody is home. It is empty. UPS has come to my house many times, and by UPS I mean children and people and men and women and children, as I said before, screaming for their lives, and nobody was home. Nobody. That's what he's saying.
Yeah.
That's what I am. Yes. So if like demons fucking were real and they took over and... Oh. Good for you. There you go. Attaboy.
Let me finish my point. Well, it's not ridiculous at all. The media.
I'm not trying to be a fan or anything.
Or assent or
It's
rise.
like he's kind of being silly too. It's like, dude, all you guys say is this.
Which is tied directly to propaganda on the left, which you've agreed that is what you're taking advantage of. Also, when you talk about culture, American culture,
get him, Michael.
Let's just get into this. So, in your world, and this is one of the reasons that the country is unified, would you say that rock and roll, for example, is white music?
Not exactly. There's certainly some origins of it
but they took over.
that were coming from African Americans. But
yes.
I'd say that.
So let me just read you this. This is from. Well, hold on one second. This is from the University of Florida. Many people may not know the roots of rock and roll are woven deep with an eclectic assortment of musical genres: blues, gospel, rhythm and blues. Other forms of black music styles are the roots for rock and roll. So a huge factor for this was the large migration of blacks from south to the north throughout the 1940s. Music associated with blacks was originally called bass music and was later called rhythm and blues. With many men participating in World War II, most big jazz bands were forced to break up. Okay, so anyway, my point, which is one of my major points from the very beginning of our discussion, from the Revolutionary War to the founding fathers and who they fell in love with, to music, to the history of this country in every single way, is tied to African American culture, but you can also make correlations with Asian Americans and Latinos, Latino Americans, and every other ethnic group. I am not
Led Zeppelin stealing songs.
An anecdote or conjecture. What I'm saying is,
so,
if you
allegedly,
who
taught you how to dance Elvis and sing?
Based on American history, it would be impossible to remove.
It happened in America, and America's a white nation, so
the historical facts.
that's where I go.
That's what they're here for. They're here to teach us.
People of different races, different ethnicities contributed greatly, and are still contributing, and are part of the fabric of the nation.
Isn't he?
So how can you talk about? How can you talk?
This is like an endless.
I don't know what to tell you. This argument is absurd.
How is
yes, it is absurd.
Sure, I am sure.
Wait a second. How is it
sure there
absurd?
are aspects of African culture.
Well, hold on one second. How? Wait a second. You said it's absurd, so you're not going to listen to rock music in your society that's only white or white nation? You wouldn't listen to rock music.
This is not. Look, I ate Vietnamese food yesterday. So what? Vietnamese food is actually, interestingly, it's a very French cuisine. So much of what we call, Vietnamese food is actually derived from the colonial experience. What we're getting at is cultural appropriation, and that word has become like a slur word in the modern academia, where if a white person wears dreadlocks, he's considered evil and harming black people. I find that pretty ridiculous. Although if this kind of animus can prevent white people from wearing dreadlocks, I support the SJWs. But what you have to get at is that culture itself is about cultural appropriation. And what is most important is that genius, that thing that's doing the appropriating. You can find musical instruments like the guitar and so on have lots of non-white origins. But there was a certain white genius that took this raw material and turned it into something new. Japan has adopted almost everything.
But how is
almost
white
everything? Okay, hold on, real quick. Japan has adopted, in terms of its language and alphabet and so much from the Chinese world. Yet there's a Japaneseness to it that really is distinct, because there actually is a Japanese collective genius, something that people share.
This is where I would stop and be like, okay, then what's your argument? What are you arguing for? You're admitting that different cultures fuse into other cultures and shit. So what are you arguing for?
This seems like something like, dude, what's it called? Where it's endless and it's in the same state, and it goes on and on and on. It's not purgatory.
It's a quagmire.
That's it. That's the word I was looking for. That's what this is.
Giggity giggity.
You know what you should do? Just my opinion. Skip 20 minutes ahead. Let's see if they talk about the same thing.
Vertically, that is between the future and the past, between their ancestors and their descendants. There is a genius to a people, and it's hard to define. Sure,
intellectually.
There.
Is that what you mean?
And yes, there are many white people who took raw material from, say, Africans or Arabs or what have you. There are many Arabs who took raw material from whites and turned it into their own thing.
Right.
The history of religion.
This sounds like it's like a...
you pause it as like he looks insane. He looks like he's talking to a crowd.
But
the flag backdrops behind. It's like, fuck, dude.
I'm guessing his argument is that that white people have an identity too. They have a culture too. I think that's what he's trying to argue.
It's not true.
He's like, oh, we're losing our culture because all these other cultures are coming in. I think maybe that's what he's saying.
I don't know. It's not backtracking in a sense, but it's just...
It really should just be fucking territorial, not racial. Right? Fucking Hawaiians surf as they live near fucking ocean and shit. Right? They live on a fucking island.
Yeah.
Where there's like warm weather all the time. They can surf and shit.
Yeah.
So they surf.
Yeah.
It's like,
it doesn't make it a...
It's a territory thing, not a race thing.
It doesn't make it a Hawaiian thing. It's a, oh, I'm here, therefore I can. Yeah. Dude, if I'm in fucking, like, where? We're like snowy mountains. Where? Wherever, it doesn't matter.
Iceland?
Yeah, well, where people can actually go and...
Iceland, people live there.
Well, I meant, like, it's like a huge attraction for people to, like, snowboard and ski and whatnot. Or is that it? I wouldn't know. Whatever. Just like, imagine...
Colorado.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Let's just say so. Or it's a... Oh, if you're from Colorado, you know, it's like... Or if I have a big mountain with a lot of snow on it.
Yeah.
Get him! He's smart! Get him! It's like, that's what this is like. It's like, you kidding me?
Yeah. And it's
like the same thing with fucking baseball. It's like, don't get me started, man, please. Some people were like, yo, man, they're like, Dominicans are the best. I'm like, just stop right there. Now listen, this is what happens when you don't let it, like, on a certain amount of people aren't allowed or not able to come to a specific area where there's a lot of other people playing, and there's like a lot of people that stand out from that area, and they show up, and there's a surplus amount of people. This is what happens, you know.
Yeah,
it's not a race thing.
No.
It's called, let's exclude what do you call it? A, and let's let B and C play. Now watch the surplus amount of people coming from A. Watch what happens.
Just take this guy when he's a baby and give him to like gangbangers or something.
Oh shit.
He's culturally gonna be way different.
Yeah.
I'm awfully sure. What he's exposed to and shit.
Now if he is what I fear he is.
I
don't think he is.
Like, is that now white culture? Is it now black culture that you're just happen to be a part of? Or is it gangbanger culture? I think it's more of a gangbanger thing.
Yeah.
It's like if you grew up surfing and shit. Oh, it's surfing culture. You guys might talk like this or do certain mannerisms or walk a certain way.
It's like people like, you know, they talk about like those gangster movies, like, yeah, man, yeah. Like they're ignoring the fact that it's a white Italian gangster going, yeah, man, dude's badass, man. This shit's funny. Oh, because you guys both, you know, that kind of thing. You like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Joe Pesci, the tiny little white guy, clearly.
If you take any minority and put them in a, you know, all-white suburban neighborhood, like sort of wealthy type.
Yeah, yuppies type of.
Not that wealthy, but like
well,
upper middle class, I would say. Hey, someone brings in $250,000 a year.
Like Burke or something.
Someone brings in
something I would imagine. You know what I mean? I don't know.
The parents combined bring in like $300,000 a year.
Okay, they're set.
That's upper middle class.
Somewhat, yeah.
Like that. Like they're gonna be different. Like they're not gonna just.
You have your own business that's doing very well.
It's like, oh, my dad was a gangbanger. Now I am.
It's like at the age of 10, the spirit will come and visit you with a gangbanger. Oh, like he's like this. Hello, everybody. Then how old is he now? He's 12. Shows up.
Don't let him see the full moon.
That's perfect. We'll use that. We'll use this. Shows up with a fucking like some grills, some pants, like a jersey, a hat backwards. What's up, boo?
It's the 12th month of his 12th birthday.
Hey, wait a minute.
Full moon.
It's like, what is that? Some dope. You want some? Too bad. You gotta pay. It's like. That's perfect.
What became Christianity was a Jewish
perfect.
At one point. And it became a deeply European ideal. Christianity in the world of other races becomes something fundamentally different. Voodoo is a kind of Catholicism that
it's not racial, it's territorial.
It became fundamentally different. It integrated the genius and the cultural baggage, you could say, of
vacations act Haitian because they're in Haiti. So You have one that's born in the United States.
It's just like this.
Full blood Haitian.
Yeah. Well,
But
I don't. You don't use
as soon
specific
as he's
examples,
born,
right? Yeah, no.
gets on a plane.
Let's say you have a group of people, right? And this could be like years ago, like years and years ago, right? And let's say that it's an island, there's a volcano, and they live right by the ocean, and the waters are kind of tough every now and then, right? So every now and then, they don't know, it's random to them, like high tides or tidal, like not gonna say tidal waves, but like the area in which they try to populate themselves and live as a community, it gets hit every now and then, and they believe it's some type of they develop traditions around that, especially the volcano, especially the sun, and they give them food and water and heat and crops and what have you. I mean, so it's like, oh, it's just like you're from there, so I'm like,
some fucking some LA surfer dude.
It's like the whole culture will like can shape around that, especially as it evolves and whatnot.
Yeah, some surfer dude from like Venice Beach in LA moves to like Philadelphia in the heart of winter, just wearing shorts and a t-shirt. Oh, what's up, guys? What's up, dude?
No, it's
like,
what's up, Bill? What's up, Ted?
Say, hey man, you're gonna die out here wearing clothes like that. Yo, it's where I'm from, okay?
I'm from Sacramento, bro. It's fine.
Sacramento gets cold.
Still warm.
Of the culture that adopts it.
Whoa.
This is how history and culture works. None of this means that identity doesn't exist. None of this means that the culture is not fragmented. None of this means that whites don't deserve their own country.
But this is the thing.
What?
Again,
see, that's my confusing part. He concedes on all these things, and then he says, doesn't mean that the whites don't deserve their own country. It's like, what?
I gotta hear him say that. Go back. By the way, I'm loving he has that microphone that we try to get. We realized we were poor. H.A. Goodman?
Yeah.
Ready? That's the microphone your mom's like, here you go. You put like a booth.
I would use it if it fucking had the right jack or whatever for it. Anyways.
The culture that adopts it. This is how history and culture works. None of this means that identity doesn't
There's like
exist.
a whole bottom.
None of this means that the culture is not fragmenting.
But
None of this means that whites don't deserve their own country.
But this is the thing. Again,
there's a whole bottom to his mic that we don't see. It's like some kind of fucking like
something that you
costly.
agree with. Rock and roll is, you would probably say American music, correct?
Sure.
Okay, so from the Revolutionary War to rock and roll, the fabric of the nation and the fabric of, the origins of rock and roll come from Africa. Rhythm and blues, jazz. I just read you from the University of Florida, just the history of rock and roll is, the origins are from African music.
I've already.
How do you say that? How would you say that in terms of culture? Because culture is very important. Like, for example, a big part
H.A. keeps
of the
running back
culture
to
of
that.
many
He's just asking
white
why.
People would be.
Or what is
listening
white name?
to,
What does that mean?
Rap
Any of it.
Sabbath.
Because there are wiggers, therefore
Black Sabbath or Motorhead. But if you talk, hold on one second. If you watch interviews of Lemmy from Motorhead or Tony Iommi from Black Sabbath, Little Richard was their hero. Little Richard was a gay black man. Is a gay black man. So how do you separate?
You do stunts for Little Richard in gay movies.
But then you're ignoring cultural influences that are from.
I'm not ignoring them. I've explicitly stated that I am not ignoring them. You're just repeating your point after I have responded to it. You're just repeating yourself.
He's just asking, what do you mean by
Well,
deserving a white nation?
You're certainly not ignoring them, but you're not ignoring them. But my point is that you're mitigating them.
Perhaps. I mean, I could, sure, in the sense that, I mean, again, my point is about cultural appropriation. That is, there is raw material from other races and other cultures, and there is a genius.
Ready? Raw material. Imagine like black people who have like blue, and they're doing rock and roll, but no one's really noticing. Then it's like, raw material. grabs it, makes something better, presents it in front of like 50 million people. It's better, raw material, everybody. It's like fuck.
To a people or a race that takes this raw material and transforms it. And even if it weren't the case, even if we all listen to rap music or something, so what? So what? Does that not mean that? Does that mean that identity doesn't exist?
But I'll explain.
Does that mean that whites aren't a real people? Does that mean that whites don't deserve their own country? Hell no.
But wait, but you're saying, okay, so let's get to, I guess,
that's just lack of charisma right there.
Yeah.
I've
Hell no.
The history and the fabric of the nation, and
a shitty, silly argument.
Mitigated or acknowledged and then mitigated.
I thought he was gonna get somewhere to change the whole what do you call it?
That I do not deny, with the exception of the South.
This is just pointless to me.
That is
well, I wouldn't say 200 plus years of slavery is an interesting anecdote. But let's continue. I want to fast forward because you would liken yourself to be a visionary, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so let's say we fast forward to 100 years from now. The alt-right wins because the left just eats itself up and
just ended it.
Whatever.
Several times.
You would, through laws, take out everyone
not even several.
in the United States of America.
I think that whites deserve our own country. That doesn't mean
in the United States.
Great. It might be in North America. The ethno-state, as I've defined it, would most likely be a post-American entity.
Would it be in the borders
of America? Would you agree to it if it were in Europe? Like,
well, I just want to know what.
You do not their right to find the.
And we're back.
Our own destiny.
The Irish have been living in Ireland for thousands and thousands of years. My question to you, though, is, do you want a white state?
I don't deny Native Americans. I've actually said this quite explicitly. And some people have criticized for it. I have a certain romanticism about Native Americans or Indians. I think they should have a place in North America.
My question.
They should have a place.
Here's my question, and if you could just, I guess, yes or no. Do you want a white nation within the United States of America?
Within the United States of America?
What do you say?
Okay,
yeah.
Do I want a white nation within the United States of America? Yes, I mean that exists today.
Would you kick out, for example, in the future, is your vision for the United States kicking out everybody who isn't white?
It's not necessarily my vision. I mean, in the sense that what I want is a homeland for white people. Now, that could take different forms. It could take a kind of smaller form that is an enclave for whites if the United States were to fragment or dissolve. It could be
it'd be you and 80 people
set forth of a real ethno-state in which it would
we'll give Maine away. You'd have the whole state of Maine.
Just take it.
Maine.
It would be a kind of
take it.
But in terms of geography, where do you know where you want? Here's a question: Do you know where you want it to be, or is it just could be anywhere?
It could be anywhere. I certainly would hope it's something like this would exist in North America. I love North America. There's aspects about the American experience, the wilderness, the beauty of it all. I'm not talking about the strip malls and the highways. I'm talking about this amazing continent that we were blessed to have ever experienced. Yes, I hope we can hold on to this because we're the ones who are going to continue to make it beautiful. And actually losing a white, not only just a white majority, but really white control. That is, white people setting the tone, white people making all of the important decisions that matter.
But okay,
if we lose that, this country is going to be a terrible place to live.
So you want in North America,
please. You might be right. Oh, God. Oh, man. Oh, I didn't just hear that. What the fuck, man? It took him, how long? Almost an hour? To get him to say that? What do you want? And now we know?
Yeah.
God.
You see.
Hold on. Well, it looks like you gotta go.
It's like, goodbye NBA. Goodbye NFL.
So, what?
It'd just be quarterbacks and linemen.
And then ready? It's...
be quarterbacks and linemen with no one to throw to or hand the ball.
And
off
goodbye, Jeter. No! 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 It's like, bye, assholes. I'm taking my money with me.
Bunch of black people with sledgehammers destroying the White House. Well, we built it, so.
Fuck. And then there's like, what do you call it? Oh no. Nikki's gone.
Huh?
Miguel. No. Floyd Mayweather was like, Nick, never again. Fuck.
Listen, I just bought an island and
McGregor's like this. McGregor's like, I am not white. Trust me. The Diaz brothers, no one really knows that they're actually Mexican, so they just decided, fuck it, go on. Oh man.
yeah, I know. That was one of the dumbest things I've ever heard.
What? Oh, that. Yeah.
It's like not only a white dominance, but you had control.
Then
if we had control,
dare I say, it's like, but the ship's leaving, right? it's a ship. It's like an arc or whatever. But then like you hear, what is it? It just stops in mid ocean somehow without no anchor. It's just wait a minute. All I see is one guy gets booted off of there. Like, ah! you walk up. The white nation finds out. Oh, it's OJ. Wow.
It's like you already know that all the healthy-minded white people, but you can't even say like I don't even know what that means because there's like Irish, Italian. There's all these different mixtures of things.
My grandpa came here, and so did my both of them did, and my grandma. No one was here. Nobody was here before the year. What? Their passports are out there. I'm just saying, but no one was here during those times, you know.
Yeah, and I think he's saying also he's adding culturally, which is like some of the biggest like destroyers of nations in the world.
What?
As far as if you say white culture.
Oh yeah, like what does that mean?
I don't know.
It's like when my granddad got here.
I think somewhere deep down he knows he's wrong.
Irish people.
It's like wait a minute.
Really get jobs and shit. It said no mix. I'm like fuck. Oh, but you love potatoes. Don't worry. Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
You like green, don't you?
Be him and 50 people.
Him and 50 people and their kids.
Yeah.
Sad, isn't it?
With bombs and missiles all pointed at them. Yeah. No one here to stop us. So.
All right, it's a cannon. It's like they just turned it around.
America losing the Olympics every year.
just wait. P. Diddy or Puff Daddy, whatever you want to call him. He gets together with a bunch of other people. We can take over. Jay-Z's like, oh yeah, Puff. Puff idea. We'll rename some of these places. It's perfect, man. Perfect. Puff Daddy originally wanted to take a fucking NFL team supposedly. Now he's just like, fuck it. Take over this fucking. However, if that XFL thing does go on, I'll be interested to see if he gets a team or not.
Mexico, you say North America. Where do you want this? I mean, so you don't know, but likely you want it to be within the United States?
Like, I would have handled that question alone.
This is it.
Be on the moon. I've said this.
You want a white nation on the moon?
Which white people? Because, you know,
I just said could.
you're not going to hold them against their will,
I'm
right?
sure I want a moon base.
They all don't believe what you
Sounds
believe.
fun.
So.
Exactly.
My point.
But you know what the
saying
ones that don't
is
believe
a
you,
very
though?
important one.
Yeah.
And it's
I don't know until where it's just
where
him and
we
50
are
people.
right now in terms of our historical trajectory is that the United States as an entity and as a concept is fragmenting, and it is becoming less and less livable. It is wrapped by debt. It is wrapped
As
by
he's in
mutual
this
suspicion.
his all white room with no stains anywhere, bed perfectly made.
And so
It's a green screen, man.
He has his iPhone wireless
I'll be perfectly
earbuds.
honest. However, at the time
That's
being,
pretty cool.
most white people are
Probably
generally
$200.
pacified.
Anyway.
There's
We're in the
either
apocalypse.
Welfare state,
He's in
either
his
through
white
being
room.
rich and having a job, either through
It looks like a green
watching
screen.
Look, no wires.
It's a green
Netflix
screen.
for half their life and so
I'm
on.
normal.
This kind of passive nihilism. People who are really
I
bearing the
consider it over.
a lot of lower class whites who are 100% part of our people. They're class divisions within the right ways.
The funny thing
I
is,
rub a lot of them the wrong
if
way. But the fact is,
people may
they
not
are
have a
still
problem
poor
if
people.
it was
They
a
are
black
bearing
dude
the brunt.
saying that.
The increase in
It's like, fuck,
suicides
man.
among whites, increase in
Yeah.
drug use.
I just don't like whenever I hear it, and I hear him
despondency,
saying, I'm like,
of just
fuck you.
losing a sense of themselves. Again,
Losing a
drugs,
sense of themselves,
tattoos,
yes.
Sexual deviancy. It is increasing.
Yes.
It's actually
You don't- you
That's
don't-
why if
what
we
do you-
get
what do you
100,000
have against
subscribers, I'll
tattoos?
challenge the black guys too.
I'm not a big fan of tattoos, to be honest. But I'm not gonna.
Please pause. Please.
It's not personal. Like
I don't like it.
Huh?
I'm just not liking this. It's like I don't like tattoos, to be honest. It's based off of a silly thing.
It is what it is.
Well, I'm not trying to attack anybody. It's just whenever I hear some dumb shit, it's like, come on. Like it took JJ 54 minutes or 52.
What?
Like this, I mean, I'm not a great debater or anything, but
Yeah.
obviously,
I thought you said JJ. I'm like, who?
I probably did. HA, my bad. HA. It took him that long.
Ha ha, Goodman. Ha 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 ha.
No, it's Ha Goodman.
Ha, Goodman. Alright.
So my
Not a
but
big deal.
I'm just saying.
what I'm
I believe I
saying is
could have.
that
I
we are
instantly
right
immediately
now
pointed out. Wait, what?
in a state where a
Oh, he would have
large
been done
portion
within the
of
first
white
20
race
seconds
is
of this.
effectively
With one question.
through a number of things, through just being content, if angsty, but content. A lot of people aren't pacified, and they are paying the price, and I have true sympathy for them.
So 70% of this country is white. Are you speaking for? Hold on, just 1 second. Are you speaking for
But
this?
let me just finish this point, and then I'll let you talk. So, but the fact
I'll let
is,
you.
we are not in a truly revolutionary, paradigmatic change situation right now. Right this instant, we are not there. The United States is not going to collapse. The United States is right now. The United States is not going to lose military hegemony or monetary hegemony, which is perhaps even more important.
Period.
And
Not
so
a military is
we
way
are
more
at that
important.
point, but we will be. It
Way
might
more
be
important.
in a year from now. It might actually be in 50 years from now. It might be in 100 years from now. But that point will come. And when that
Oh, that's
point
needed
comes,
for what
and
we
these
got
points come in
what
history,
they got going on
they
right
come
now.
like a thief
Without
in the
that,
night. They come
everything's different.
hyperbolically. They don't come linearly. That point will come when a change will be possible. And when that point comes, the leaders of the race have to have a concept of what we ultimately want. We can't just be scrambling. We can't
All right,
just
but
be
I think that
hoping to survive.
I
We
think
need to
that
say no. We're
if
going to
the United
take
States
a
of
major
America.
turn, and
Okay,
we're
but
gonna
if the,
have a
if the
new
United
type
States of
thing.
America survives,
Imagine
if the United States of America
Imagine
survives the Civil
HA
War,
on a podium.
we can
Now imagine
survive,
him on a podium.
internet battles.
tell me
or,
who sounds like a
identity
Nazi.
politics battles.
It's not just internet.
But
The
think
leaders,
left
the
and right.
leaders of the
Okay,
race.
fine. But
Much bigger.
this I think the issue of slavery and the Civil War and 700,000 Americans total dying in the Civil War, they upped it to 700,000. I think that's a much bigger issue that the country surpassed and survived than anything going on today. But well, hold on. But here, let me get to my overall point. My point is this: because we need to get to a mutual understanding, which is predicated upon your viewpoint, which makes the left or makes people insane. I would like to know, for argument's sake,
I kind of agree, actually.
for argument's sake, you, which I disagree with, you want an enclave or the entire United States? I guess you want Congress all white instead of majority white, which is what it is now. So you want complete and utter control by white people, which is almost what it is now in the Congress and executive and Supreme Court.
I want a white elite to control our own destiny. Yes.
And so you don't think there's a white
good white elite.
You don't think there's a white, you don't think white elites are controlling the country now?
No. He did it again. He said good white elite. Like, all right, what do you mean by good?
He said good.
So, all right. So you got to define good now. And whatever, man. Onward.
To a degree, they are. Now there is a.
Wait, what? Go back. Go
that.
back, please. Go back to where he does the finger pointing good,
So
Mom.
Jews
Yes.
are not white. I guess you want Congress all white instead of majority white, which is what it is now. So you want complete and utter control by white people, which is almost what it is now in the Congress and executive and Supreme Court.
I want a white elite to control our own destiny. Yes.
And so you don't think there's a white
good white elite.
You don't think there's a white you don't think white elites are controlling the country now?
To a degree, they are. Now there's some interesting components to that. There's a Jewish component, but putting that aside.
So Jews are not white.
Jews are not white. No.
Okay.
Jews are not European. They don't understand themselves as European. They understand themselves as Jews.
Well, I've always considered myself white, but apparently in your view, I'm not white.
Okay, you could find some Jews who will more or less understand themselves as white. Many Jews, particularly Ashkenazi Jews and Sephardic Jews, have
He's
white
got
skin.
rules now.
But in terms of
James,
my
we're not
point
whites,
is
even though
that
you're Irish, Italian,
fundamentally
British.
that they
Scottish,
Jews have a different
Pure
story.
white.
So you wouldn't. So hold on. So
Italian race.
I want to in this discussion get to what you want. So then people can
took
then
them a
oppose
while.
if they want to oppose your ideology. They know what the hell they're
What do you
opposing.
want, man?
Within the United States of America, the fact that Congress, the fact that all but one president that we've had have been white, the fact that you've had enslavement of black people for 200 plus years, you've had virtual annihilation of Native Americans throughout the country, you've had pretty much, in terms of the history of our nation, from Manifest Destiny to every war we've had that we've won, or most wars except Vietnam, you've had dominance by a country that's still 70+% white.
It's not
So-
70+% white. It's maybe 60+% white.
Well, the latest statistics I saw today before our debate is 70+%, 72% actually, but
65 is
and
secondly, that
how
is
much-
a little
Who
bit,
cares? Majority. Got it.
So
Onward.
how
He
would
cares.
you, in my view,
The pure.
We're losing
pretty
ground.
much the history of the country is pretty
68,
much dominated.
2 months ago.
Uh,
The people of
by
the
white
snow
people
must
already.
rise.
Obviously, it's not enough domination from your vantage point. But
Not enough
how would you
domination.
go?
saying that. I'll let you ask another
You-
question.
you-
hold on,
didn't say anything
my
about
overall
it.
point is this: that was just like a sub.
It's like a jab at him.
How
He's like,
do you
yeah,
implement
kind of.
your vision? And for argument's sake, well, just because you said North America and you picked kind of a broad geography, within the United States of America, how would you implement the expulsion or removal of black citizens, Latinos, Asians, Jews? How would you remove people who are citizens born here? You would then rip up the Constitution. You would you would kick people out in terms of mass waves, and if they didn't want to leave, you would then
You don't live
perhaps
here.
send them in concentration camps. Like, how does that happen in like 100 years from now, when you have this inception, this vision, and let's say the United States falls apart and you take a third of the country with the alt-right? Do you then expel and remove and force people out of your territory?
Okay, let me first go back before I answer those tricky questions about pragmatic issues. Let me go back a little bit. And you were saying, so the majority of Congress is white, so many people, heads of corporations are white, boards of corporations are white,
Yes, the most pristine,
I
moral
never
people
looked
we
at
have in
Hillary
our country.
Clinton as, my fellow
CEOs
white,
and politicians.
Look, at last we've got a white one who's about to become a president. I certainly didn't look at George W. Bush that way. My career in journalism began in fierce opposition to the white man in office, who I thought was making terrible decisions, and I certainly stand by that sentiment. The fact
How
is,
about a
we
bunch
need
of
a different type of white person in charge. This, and I've said this actually in multiple speeches.
Notice how he says George Bush made terrible decisions rather than, it's like, maybe since he's speaking on a social level anyways, like, you wouldn't think to say maybe a bad person?
Yeah.
He doesn't even think, he just says, he made terrible decisions.
It astounds me that someone could get to this point and still operate with these moves, dare I say. That dude.
It's very interesting how he said
and
that.
his dad and his brother and that whole and not just them, but all of them. It's scary. It's scary to think that these guys, there's nothing going on there.
No, nothing's going on.
Yeah, nothing.
They're just...
No one's home.
They're just bad decision makers.
Yeah. Yeah. Collateral damage,
Why
right?
not?
When you hear this, it's just... That's when they're about to hit that button or sign that paper. The generals come. Listen, we want to make contractors more apparent and to basically get our influence over that piece of land over there and operate.
Oh, see,
We need your signature. Do it must be done.
You see all the Pakistani and the Saudi connections in the 9/11. It was like he just made a mistake and said Iraq. Let's bomb them. It was just a bad decision. All the intelligence data grabbing they had. It's like, could happen to anybody. Just happened to pick Iraq by accident, or just incompetence, just bad decision.
It's like what I said. Like tiers as far as ignorance goes. Like this guy is somewhere where did this guy have a following? I've heard of him before.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Imagine if guy.
He's famous for getting punched in the face.
Huh?
He got punched in the face.
Oh.
I think they were walking towards like some rally or something. Somebody recognized him, just snuffed him.
Damn. Some savage shit.
Yeah,
Fuck.
it's pretty savage. But they're on the other side of the coin with the ignorant dumb fucks.
Oh yeah, them too. Just saying.
But I think this guy's an actor, by the way. I think he's acting. There's no way he can believe that shit.
One way or another, and I don't mean the common term by actor, but when it all boils down to a certain point, they as in those group of people that do that kind of thing are actors.
Yeah.
You
He has to either be
here,
pretending he's...
I can be specific here. I don't mean by like you are paid by the organization that tells you to have this agenda and you will follow the rules and
I'm
rhetoric.
thinking that is a possibility.
I'm not saying
corruption side.
I'm not saying it isn't. I'm saying that is very well a possibility. Or he's an actor by
He's ignorant.
Yeah, but it's deeper.
Meaning, no one's home.
Well,
that's a scary type of ignorance.
Okay, well, listen. I mean, it's weird, man, because it can mesh. You have an ignorant person who is okay. It's ignorance and corruption. It's not either or. It's both.
I would throw them on different I'd say or.
All right. That's tough. All right. You have an ignorant person who doesn't really necessarily know what they're talking about. They just go with it, as well as with their peers, their peer group and whatnot. And eventually, when this guy becomes with a pseudo-intellectual of the group, he ascends to power within that little spectrum of his group, and he gets a following, like I assume he has now, right? And then,
Well, he could probably talk well.
like I said, a pseudo-intellectual.
Yeah.
Like,
He can Obama the shit out of his talk groups.
just like that person that tells people how to meditate. Right? Anyway, 18%. You don't have to worry about it. That happens, and eventually down the road, like nothing's there, right? And then,
That's sort of fun.
like nothing's there when like tough decisions have to be made, or it's straight up corruption where that's just it completely. Which is,
I think it's very possible.
yeah.
Alright, let's go.
Before there is a black question, before there's a Jewish question, before or a problem, before there's a
Why do they
Hispanic
call
problem,
it that?
there is a
The
white
black question,
problem.
the Jewish question.
The problem is fundamentally with us, and those other problems are problems for us.
So if you
because
fix the
of
white
us.
problem,
Us again,
and you fix the leadership, and you perhaps you're alive to see the day, and you head the state, and you are the head of a white nation within the United States. Let's say it's the South. I don't know. Okay, so you're controlling the territory.
That was a little
Do you kick out Asians, blacks, Latinos? Do you forcibly remove them?
Just
Yes
put
or
like a
no?
finger, like a fake hand, go.
I don't know. We have not gotten there. Like this
I
is not
understand that,
happening.
but
tomorrow.
wait a second.
So
with all due respect,
This is what I would say.
But let's be honest. Wait a second. With all due respect, let's be honest. Of course, we haven't gotten there. All of your visions or theories are, theoretical.
I do want to say something that to people listening, there's no need
To the 5 people listening.
to whoever listens to this and actually reaches this point of the video. There's no reason to insult the guy, Richard Spencer. No reason to insult him. His argument is insulting enough. Like on its own, it's fucking cardboard. A good breeze will blow it over. So there's no reason to insult him or be like, "Fuck you, racist." You don't need that shit. Just look at his argument and be like, a strong breeze can knock that over. Onward.
Well, at the same time, it's truly evaluating what's being said and coming to a conclusion rather than just saying, "It's racist, man." It's just like, and by that I mean like, wow, like, do you know what that means? And when it boils down to it, is it really racism or is it just ignorance?
No,
he hates them.
He's ideologically racism, I think, would be.
I'm not saying there isn't.
Saying that skin color means this as a person.
I get it. What I'm saying is,
I think he's blatantly saying
being able to say yes, it is a thing, or it isn't. That's what I'm saying. And I haven't a lot. I feel like it's like a popular thing to say that now. Let's say a guy is. People just say yeah, like a bunch of people. Doesn't matter who or what they are, but they identify that guy's racist. Then it's like, okay, what now? What are you gonna do? Like, you gonna just say it?
Yeah.
Or remember, he's still a person. How about that? It's not a monster, That's where it all goes down to eventually.
That would just be egos talking to egos.
Yeah.
In which case it would make sense to me.
I'm not saying it doesn't make sense. It's just very annoying, and this happens a lot.
And they're like, "You are racist." That's their ego speaking to that person's ego. Unless the other person has something going on to where they can.
I feel like something. I feel like intentionally, some people just don't want to go that far because they'll meet themselves eventually. It's like, what do you call it? Like, imagine like a boardwalk or whatever, and they're walking down the path and they see the guy that they're just calling a racist, and they like push him out of the way, falls into the water, and then you're gonna end up. It's somewhat of almost an endless boardwalk, even though in the back of your head there's a point where it stops, but then just all of a sudden a big mirror drops down from the sky. It's like you can't, no way to get around it, Yeah. And it's just you, and what now? feel like that's what a lot of people were like, maybe there's another way. They turn around.
I'm not even sure if they're even walking on the path. Anyways.
We haven't gotten there, but you do have a plan or a vision. And so it's a very simple question. You've obviously thought about what you want to do with people who aren't white. Do you want to kick them out? Do you want to kill them?
Where we are going to be. White people might be kicked out of the United States. To be honest, it kind of looks like we're headed in that direction.
How could white people be kicked out? Who's going to kick out white people?
The amount of white animus is extreme, and if you look at where is that headed, yes, I could imagine that happening. Right,
I want
to hear that again.
In South Africa, where you'll
say animus,
your visions or theories are, theoretical. We haven't gotten there, but you do have a plan or a vision. And so it's a very simple question. You've obviously thought about what you want to do with people who aren't white. Do you want to kick them out? Do you want to kill them?
Where we are going to be. White people might be kicked out of the United States. To be honest, it kind of looks like we're headed in that direction.
How could white people be kicked out? Who's going to kick out white people?
The amount of white animus is extreme, and if you look at where is that headed, yes, I could imagine that happening. Right, just the other week in South Africa.
So you use the word animus, which to me means like a daddy figure.
In a nation that they used to have control over. Congress has just voted to expropriate land from white farmers without compensation.
But we're not South African. You made a statement. We're not South African.
I'm saying this kind of thing can happen.
Okay,
I don't know where we're going to be in 100 years or something when something like this is possible.
Okay,
This is what I would say. The survival of my people is non-negotiable.
I understand this. So my question.
No, I'm actually answering your question. At the end
what
of the
would
day,
you do? So
the
then what would you do?
survival of my people.
There would be no limit to what if someone truly cares about his people and our shared culture and civilization. Then there will be no limit.
We can share.
So would you kill? So would you kill if you had to kill?
I absolutely do not condone violence. I do not want violence of any kind.
I understand, but you said there's no.
If we are truly under threat, am I willing to fight? No question. There is no question in my mind. Every other
how do you define under threat?
Nationalist. There you go, H.A.
In a situation like the South Africa white wars or any, that seems to be under threat to me. No,
well,
whites are kind of
saying white farmers in South Africa.
That's perfect.
It's like, wait a minute.
See H.A.'s face? That's how I feel right now.
Oh, God. It's like, wait a minute.
What is this?
Black people are kicking out white farmers in South Africa.
See?
You like that, don't you? Yeah. Like, think about that.
Say it again?
White farmers being kicked out in South Africa.
Yeah, well, what are they doing, first of all?
It's like, okay, you want white nations and this and that.
White nationalists.
But South Africa, they should allow there to be white farmers there?
Well, exactly. Yeah, exactly. What do you mean by white farmers?
Isn't that against your argument in the first place?
Well, yeah, that too, and he's failed to definitely state what does he mean by that, as in who are they? What are they? Let's say it's a farmer, and it's really just a guy who has a building, who showed up by like some illegal means. You know what I'm saying? And they we're gonna get this guy out of here.
Oh, it's like, all right, we ran over here, we took over your land, now it's our land. If you take it back, it's still our land. It's like, what?
Well, I'm saying, you know
those. That's what he's saying.
Yeah. You know those farms that have the gigantic pool of shit, and they spray it, and people that live around it it smells. Well, let's see if it's like that, and they want that guy out of there. Dude, get your shit and get out. If you don't stop, you can leave and do it somewhere else. And they're kicking him out. It's like, God, you're not even telling me anything about this. Why? What's happening? No, he's white. He's white, so it's a problem. Yes.
Yeah, it could have been just normal farmers. But it's like, if you want these nation buildings to be race identified, and you want an African country to...
Oh, we are... Yeah.
I don't know.
I heard in that movie theater.
Hit that light.
Ready? Yeah. I heard in that movie theater. I'm like, oh, I wish that was a real place. Yes, an excluded place where only certain people can live there, and they enjoy the fruits of their labor, perhaps. Because there are poor people there. We saw it. We saw that fucking what do you call it? That little dinky ass book bag in the little slums those people lived in. Like, you live in a castle, my friend. Yes. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think so. No. Disney. Of course.
Frog that's being boiled.
It's there.
Use this
Yeah.
metaphor where you put a frog in a pot and you slowly raise the temperature, and it doesn't know
But you're
what's
the
happening
but
until it's
but
dead.
in this
That's what's happening.
But in this discussion, in this
At some
hypothetical,
point, it's gonna boil.
but what I'm trying to say is I fast forwarded into the future. We're in the discussion now of you getting what you wanted. You are.
Don't you agree?
What?
Some people do think like that.
Yeah.
Like, alarmingly. You know? Like,
Think that the nation's gonna be taken over?
No. I meant, like, a place of our own.
Ah, yeah. That's probably because they're poor.
Yeah. We're poor, man. Yeah, of course.
If they're rich, they're like, oh, I have my place, man. I built this mansion.
Well, I mean,
have this
a
and
place as in a group of people.
I'm thinking that's a
I
poor
identify by
person
my
thing.
ethnicity, and we want this area where you all can be over there. It's like, fuck, please stop. Like, I've heard it so many times. I'm not kidding.
Yeah,
It's like,
segregation.
I'm like, you guys are racist. No, we're not. I'm like, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like.
That's automatically saying someone's good or bad because of their race.
Yeah.
At the head, you're still alive. You've taken white people to the promised land. Okay,
I just
so
saw this. You know, don't
Oh,
mess with
man.
Texas. White Texans were willing to go to war.
okay,
They were
hold on
willing
one
to
second.
kill
So
people
what
for a
I'm
political
saying,
cause.
do you advocate?
He's asking
You
you.
haven't
I
really answered
don't
the
advocate
question.
violence, and I
Yeah.
do not advocate.
Okay, so wait a
Sounds like a
second.
politician.
If
Do not
a
condone
white
it.
nation-
It will be done.
In
We
a
will neutralize them if
in
need
a
be.
hypothetical white nation, where you have black citizens, Jews, Latinos, Asians, Native Americans in your territory that will not leave, that will not move. You are the head of your, white nations. White nations.
You can't even say it
You
out
are
loud,
the
like, you're
leader. These
white
people
nation.
who are not white will not
Here
move.
it comes.
Do you forcibly remove them with force and at gunpoint? Yes or no?
The survival and
Just
flourishing
yes.
of white
Wait.
people
He
is
can't
not
answer it.
acceptable.
Let's speak.
I'm not going to
Let's
answer a
speak.
hypothetical question.
But
That's just like,
your entire
would you do
philosophy
this?
is hypothetical.
Mine's
Oh, alright, you said it for me. I was like, your whole premise is hypothetical.
Yeah.
He said it for me. There we go.
entire philosophy is not hypothetical. That's simply wrong. I am willing to talk about the ethno-state. That is something
Alright,
for
pause
the
it.
future.
But
We
that,
need-
but
All right. How is it hypothetical?
Because he's saying that.
See, like the boiling frog thing, where
Yeah.
slowly turn the temperature up.
Right.
That's what's happening with the white race in America. We're slowly dwindling away, and blah 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 blah.
What's a hypothetical? Yeah. Okay. That's it. Keep going. Not that I didn't agree.
something for the future that doesn't
just-
exist now is a hypothetical.
I think you should ask, like, would you be willing to not kill someone in order to achieve a homeland for your people? Yes,
Would you
of
be
course.
willing to?
But I'm not going to answer the hypothetical question where it's this gotcha, where it's like, look, politics
What?
and history is messy.
Wait a minute. If your answer is to say, yes, I would violently move them, get them out of my white
Go back.
nation or
Go
whatever.
back. By the way,
How far?
30 seconds.
I'll just go here.
Remove them with force and at gunpoint? Yes or no?
The survival and flourishing
Just yes.
of white
Wait.
people is
Please.
non-negotiable.
Let's speak.
I'm not going to
Let's
answer a
speak.
hypothetical question.
But
That's just like,
your entire
would you-
philosophy is hypothetical.
My entire philosophy is not hypothetical. That's simply wrong. I am willing to talk about the ethno-state. That is something for the
Ethno-state.
future. What
But
we need is
but
that
something
goal.
for the future that doesn't exist now is a hypothetical.
I think you should ask, like, would you be willing to not kill someone in order to achieve a home?
Will you make this question easier for me so I don't look like a
But
But I'm
douchebag?
not going to answer that
Come on.
hypothetical
Too late.
question where it's this gotcha, where it's like, look, politics and history is messy. If you look at world history, it's a slaughter bench.
Now he justifies
American
that.
history is a slaughter bench.
Without saying the answer that he would violently move people out of the country. He says history is messy. That's his like filler.
This reminds me specifically of when I was watching the Meditation King himself, Sam Harris, talk about war, how it's inevitable, something in regards like that, and people will casualties will happen. It's like, dude,
Yeah.
have you no soul? Are you kidding me?
He may not know it.
Well, I was about to say the work must be done, I guess. It's this guy too.
Wars will happen. Sometimes things get messy. A lot of times, whenever there's a paradigmatic political shift, people die.
Who told you
And
that?
there are challenges for power. People who fight and are willing to be more ruthless and so on will win. That is the history of the world, and that is going to be the history of the world going forward.
So
that
then,
is a perfectly good answer to your question.
Wrong. Absolutely wrong. There's so many loopholes in there. That whole ideology has so many fucking...
He's saying people out.
It's wrong.
It's like,
Whoever's more ruthless wins.
like, so you're not saying white people are more good. Because that was his argument in the first place, right?
I think his argument was that they had more of an established, successful order.
No, he's saying they're better, straight up.
Well, that's
So
what I got.
if
Whites were
Hold on.
all in
Well, wait,
control,
just
100%.
Just wait.
It'd be better.
What I got from the beginning was that, is this what he's saying? And now, favoritism here. You know? So I'm like, oh, now you're saying they're better.
Yeah.
So it's both.
But it can't be morally, because he said the more ruthless one wins.
Like I said, it's backwards.
So then it's like, what's your argument?
He's probably an actor.
Like, are you just better?
Those are like trends I see. Actors.
So which substantiates HA's argument of,
Well, you didn't make rock and roll, so are you just better people at just better? Like, what does that mean? Can you be Kobe Bryant right now?
He takes
Can you do that?
He takes raw materials. Which this is what he means. Ready? You give him boat shoes, he'll make Nike Air Jordans. Don't worry. Raw materials.
And they'll create the guy that can replace Michael Jordan, of course.
His name is I don't know, Bill Hawk, whatever.
Bill Hawk. Sorry if there's any Bill Hawks listening to this.
well,
I'm using their logic here.
it
It's
is
okay.
an answer, but it
It's okay.
doesn't. It doesn't address the. I don't think you're owning your philosophy.
Look, your identity
Yeah.
is Americanism. Is
Well, wait a second. With all due
Americanism.
respect, let's not
Identity.
focus on- let's
Who
not
you
focus on
are.
Getting away from this
Who
issue
you
because
are.
I thought.
It's-
Well, hold on. Okay.
Let's see.
This is a debate. It's not necessarily. You're not a
Well,
journalist.
I'm
Hold
not.
on.
I'm not trying
Whenever
to.
I ask a journalist a question, they're like, "I asked the question." But
No.
we're actually in a
It's,
debate.
it's not an interview, but see, the thing is, it is a debate.
Hold on, real quick. Your identity, to the extent that I understand it, is Americanist, and it is citizenist. You could say so. Race might matter, but it's we're all Americans. That's
Yes,
the
sir.
key thing. Would you fight? Would
In his
you
head right
actually
now.
even be willing to kill,
Gymnastics.
willing to die to maintain that identity?
Like running from one end to the other.
Just
It's like,
kind of
right?
hypothetical.
He's over the
Listen,
50
you didn't
hurdles.
answer my question, which is part
Now
of
here
the
comes the
debate.
broad jump.
No, you
I
didn't.
am willing.
Part of the debate.
Here comes the mountain climb. Here's time. And now here comes the Here comes the dive.
Listen, part of
Watch
the
the
debate,
form.
and I agree with you.
Flawless
Some
form.
journalists Say, well, I asked the question.
Rough
I
landing.
agree with that.
Rough
Why-
landing.
Yeah. Why shy
If he
away
falls
from
down, he
the
just
answer?
hits rewind and
It's
redo
part of
redoes
the
it.
debate. It's part of the debate because I just need a simple yes or no to
Is
prove
the
my
future
overall.
of your identity negotiable?
If he fucks up, he just
hold on
hits
1 second,
rewind
then
and then
own
redoes
it. Just
it.
say yes.
Oh, this
I'm
works.
not putting
This
words
fits
in your
here.
mouth, but then
I
own it.
said-
Say yes.
I said
Richard
Pause.
Spencer.
HA.
Citizenist, you could say. So race might matter, but it's we're all Americans. That's
Listen what he says.
Would you fight? Would you actually even be willing to kill or willing to die to maintain that identity that you have? Just kind of hypothetically speaking.
Richard, you didn't answer my question, which is part of the debate. No, you didn't.
That's a hypothetical
Part of
question.
the
Why are you
debate.
asking that?
That's not. But that's not.
People is not negotiable.
Again, though.
What else
part of
is
this
Not
debate-
negotiable.
Wait, listen. Part of this debate,
He
and I
has
agree with you.
very
I don't
little
like when journalists say,
understanding
"Well, I
of
asked the
what
questions." and I agree
Identity
with that.
is.
Why? Yeah.
Truly is.
He's standing
why
on
shy
a
away from
fucking
the anscer?
old
It's part of
moldy
the debate.
log
It's part
in
of
the
the
fucking
debate
Amazon
because
River. He's
I
like,
just need a simple yes or no to
Is
prove
the
my
future
overall.
of your
There's people in
identity
water
negotiable?
spinning
Well,
it for
hold
him.
on 1 second. Then own it. Just say yes. I'm not putting words in your mouth, but
I
then
have
own it.
said-
Say yes.
have
I,
said
Richard
the
Spencer,
future
would
of-
kill in order to remove people.
The future
He's
of
fucked.
my people is non-negotiable.
If
I
you
don't know
consider,
what
if you
else-
consider,
Oh my
this
God.
fine. You use-
You're trying to get some.
No, I'm not trying to get.
Is
I'm
the
not trying to
future-
get anything.
Is the
No,
future
I'm not trying to
your
get.
identity negotiable? Would you fight for America if
It's,
it were under threat?
dude, holy shit.
I define threats differently from you. That's what I'm trying to get at. You and I see threats as different. I don't see.
That might be true.
So I mean,
But
it's like
if
we're
your
speaking-
identity were under threat.
Well, hold
would
on.
you-
My
a
identity's
second.
never under
We're speaking
threat.
English,
I know.
but the
can't
semantics
be.
are like two ships in the night. You are claiming a threat is that within the discussion we had, the debate that we're having, I am literally trying to find out what you would do if you had your own country, which is what you want, and I'm literally trying to find out what you would do if people who are not white would not leave your territory. If you view that to be a threat, if you view that to be something of an existential dilemma and threat, if they would not leave, then how do you address that existential threat?
Non-white people in our territory is not necessarily an existential threat. They're whites
Because
have
we can wipe them out
control,
pretty
control,
easily.
in many ways, positive control
Listen,
of the country. For
if you have a bowl of
centuries,
pasta,
despite the fact
and there's
that
one
there was a
brown
large
pasta, not a big
percentage
deal.
of just
You can't
the
see
Jewish
it.
population,
Just put
that
bury it.
were slaves,
Buried
or
underneath, you
Negroes,
can't see it.
former slaves. There was the Native American or Indian question.
The
as
Trail
well.
of Tears is
So
an
I don't-
example. The Trail of Tears from Oklahoma to Georgia, they were forced at gunpoint. So, from Georgia to Oklahoma. So, the Cherokee was forced.
History is a slaughter event.
So would you then, if a law was passed in your country stating that okay, you guys gotta leave now, would you then forcibly remove these people if a law was passed in your legislature and you were the head of a white nation and the laws were passed that non-white people had to leave, would you then forcibly remove these people to follow the law within your country?
This is what we have to. I'm just simply. I'm not going to give you a gotcha like
Why is that a gotcha? It's your philosophy.
I have basically
got 'em.
told you everything.
It's not a
you
gotcha
need to know.
because
I have
it's
said
already
in
been
the
that,
past,
you know?
Whenever
This
there
whole
were
thing.
charismatic changes, whenever political, who controls?
Like, you're not gonna
who
look like an
rules,
asshole. Dude, you are an
is under
asshole.
threat.
I'm not saying he's an
Sometimes
asshole,
those
just
change
saying
people.
it's one of those things.
Many times it is not. And the second thing is that the future of my people is non-negotiable, and I'm willing to fight for it. I don't know what else you possibly need.
But it's not.
but
Well, he's asking, what is the line of
we're gonna be
fighting for?
really evil and terrible. No, this can be absolutely done peacefully.
Just said evil.
And secondly,
Yeah, I know.
as I just said, there could be some other races within an ethno-state, but the fact is, who the core people are, who sets the agenda, who creates politics, who creates foreign policy, etc. Now, this is the key thing when you think about when we want to talk about violence, political violence. We want to talk about it theoretically. It's a very important question. The state is
That was him
able
walking
to
backwards and
engage in
It's
violence
backtracking, yeah.
so long as
He
it
hit
has
rewind and
legitimacy.
said a different answer.
And so the state can arrest you. It could arrest you for a crime. You don't, it could conceivably arrest you if you don't pay parking tickets. The state can go to war, in the sense that the United States, has killed and unjustly and stupidly, in my mind at least,
Stupid.
hundreds of thousands.
It was just a mistake.
Unjust.
Millions of people in the 20th
It was a
century
mistake.
in all of these foreign
This was
wars
justified.
and so on. And
They did this
one of
to
the
us.
reasons
They
it
had bad
continues
intel
is
and they
that
made the wrong
I'm gonna
choice.
use the word
not
evil.
just power. Power is very important, but because it has legitimacy. People actually,
Power.
in a kind of
Legitimate.
theological way, you could say, as Paul Schmidt talked about, or in a belief system, they believe that America is legitimate, that it is true, and that it is good. And when the state has that power, it is able to engage in violent actions. But
So that-
only really the state can do it. I can't do that. I don't want to do it.
I
to be
understand
honest, but
that.
I
I
cannot
understand
go
that.
out
So-
and shoot people in the street and be like, I'm a government, so it's legal. No.
So all I'm saying, so it's
It has
obvious
sovereignty and it has legitimacy.
Justify
The
myself.
one thing about, so in terms of, political change, whenever something, an entity loses legitimacy, that's when you have this kind of, often bloody, not always, but challenge for power.
So in
yes,
a
that can be
state,
messy, sure.
so in a legit, so it's obvious that you will not answer yes or no regarding this simple question. In a state that you deem legitimate, you are not willing to answer
Well, okay,
whether.
let me ask you.
Hold on, let me finish my question. You
why
are
don't
not
you
willing to
shame
answer.
me,
You
and
are
why
not
don't
willing to answer
answer?
whether you
Would
would
you
use force. Well, hold
fight-
on. You are not willing to answer whether you would use force to remove, if your legislature or if laws were passed within your state, and if it's legitimate laws and it's a legitimate state run by you, you will not answer whether you would use force to remove people if your state
Do you want me
deemed
to
that they should be removed.
Just keep repeating myself because this is like the future of my people is non-negotiable.
You keep saying that. I'm not talking about the future of your people. I'm talking about a law that was made in your country.
Would you fight and die and maybe kill?
Are you
for
trying to
the
say in a
maintenance
rhetorical
of
way
American
yes?
identity?
Are you
Would
trying to say in a
Why don't
rhetorical?
you shame me? Why don't you answer it yes or no? And I'll
Why
just
would you be
ashamed.
shamed? I'm not
Would you
asking.
fight or
I'm
die to
not
maintain-
stating. But I am not stating. My vantage point is that we should not have a country
What if
separate
China
from our own.
invaded the United States?
My vantage point is I like America the way it is. Your
What if
vantage
China
point,
invaded it?
huh?
What if China invaded
My
our
vantage
Pacific
point-
seashore? Would
my
you fight and
vantage-
die for your identity?
My vantage point. My vantage
wouldn't
point is
be.
that I like the country the way it is. Your vantage point is obviously.
I
you
could
do not-
disappear, my identity would still be me. It's an entirety.
But that's not the thing. The thing is, if someone
I get
invaded you, it's not about identity. It's
I
about
understand.
someone's coming in here with guns and to shoot us.
Yes,
and
I
shit.
know.
But he's trying to say, would you fight for your identity? It's like, I'd fight for my survival.
Well, yeah, right there. But like, what do you mean by that? Identity. What do you mean by that? And there you go.
Do you mean China's coming in without weapons and they're just like, you're all gonna eat Chinese food for the rest of your
No,
lives?
imagine. Like, no.
You're all gonna have surgery to make your eyes like this, and
Funny thing is, I
we're
hear a
gonna tan
lot
you
of
all.
like Asians.
you're gonna speak
have surgery.
Chinese, and
Well, no, it's this.
it's like, what do you mean by
It's this.
identity?
A bunch of warships come to the harbors. Go on land, ships. People drop from them, and they're all like in their gear, right? And it's like this. It's like they just stop. Like no weapons. We want this. They just sit.
They're gonna have one of those like T-shirt guns, and then shoot like Yao Ming jerseys on everyone. Like,
Yeah, man.
oh, they're all become Yao Ming fans. We taken your identity.
We take. No, it's this. It's
like, what do you mean identity's under threat? What the fuck?
it's a gun, right? No, it is. It's
They
a,
know
it's,
your
it's,
body's
it's
under
a
that,
T-shirt
that's why
cannon.
you-
That's it. And it shoots them. And it magically gulps them. Oh no! It's like all of a sudden they have like fucking noodles and shit. Death to wide eye. Yes. It's like fuck. Like no. Imagine that some guy that
Like
loves
the country
country.
the way it
No,
is. You
brother.
want a different
I
country.
like
I love rap,
things
man.
About, things about
It's
America.
like no.
But
Okay,
yes,
but
I
come
think
on.
it is headed in a terrible direction, no question.
But you would
It's
not. I
actually
understand. So,
headed there fast. We are well on our way.
oh, fine. So this is not a gotcha. This is simply an extension.
I'm going to give you a gotcha. If China invaded
I'm gonna get you
the
now.
Pacific seashore, would you fight, die, and kill to protect American.
Are you saying then
Protect
that
what
you would
about
fight,
America?
die, and kill to kick people out of your theoretical state?
Let me answer this because I think we need to move on because I think I'm obviously not going to answer this in the way that will satisfy you, so I think we should just move on.
Okay, well, no, listen.
What is possible
I think
in terms of what is possible in terms of re-immigration, as many have called it? Re-immigration is very possible. In terms of illegal immigrants, that's easy. I think actually you could easily get a majority in the sense that they need to go home. Now, in terms of recent immigrants who don't really have roots, if we could create
that means if they don't want to go,
in terms of paying them,
they're leaving either way. You know,
establishing something.
You just answered your question.
I agree. Just simply kicking them away is not going to cut it. Now, in terms of the African American question, could we actually help them create a nation state in the future? Could we help them create a ethno state?
But there is no question.
And actually, I would be absolutely supportive. This could be done entirely peaceful, and I would be absolutely in support of that.
But there is no African American question.
What?
There is no black people don't want to.
You're
Black people want to live
in conservative talking points, which were formerly liberal talking points.
Well, no, but
I don't see race.
The culmination. The culmination of the.
No.
I think we've reached a point. I guess we're.
I don't want to use this word.
End the debate in a couple of minutes, only because. And I do appreciate the time you spent, discussing, your philosophy and my vantage point. I believe is established by your inability to say, yes, I would kill people who are not white if they did not abide by the law and leave the country. And if they fought back and said, no, I'm staying, I would then fight them and kill them to kick them out of my white nation. You cannot say that, but that's exactly what you've stated in a rhetorical manner. So I guess that we've ended, there's no more to debate. Your vision of a state, you've stated in many, many different ways that you would fight and die.
Do you think America, that throughout American history, that things have gotten messy? There have been enemies.
He's like, that's just the way of the world, man.
What's the question?
Throughout American history, America has had enemies, both external and internal. And do you think that there was actually some violence done in order to protect this state, that the state engaged in violence sometimes?
But see, the thing is, I'm not at the.
Isn't that physical harm though?
Who is advocating the ideology you are?
Isn't that physical harm? Like, oh, someone's here to take over land back. They have pitchforks and shit. Either way, that's a threat of violence, right? They're not here like
an indefinite threat. If there's weapons.
Let's say they have weapons. They're like, oh, we want our land back.
If there's a group of people, there's 10 people, and they're about to hit you, they got no weapons except, violence, physical harm.
Either way.
Well, I'm just saying.
The threat is
there, yes.
They're not here to, change the eagle to a mockingbird or something, right? They change your identity. We're going to change your flag colors.
Exactly, yeah.
I don't know.
I've already been there. That was a very quick journey for me. It was like, oh, it's a symbol. Oh.
It's like, alright.
Oh, that was easy.
When they think America goes to war, are they thinking that they're fighting to have their flag raised everywhere? Or are they fighting for resources or maybe even a threat of violence?
Let's just call it gain.
Like Iraq, we want you to change your flag to Americans.
We're going there.
There's no eagles here, but eagles are new.
The Middle East, we'll call it.
Yeah.
Because they attacked us. They have weapons. We have to liberate the women. We have to sub the governments. We have to leave. We have to stay. We have to put more people in. There's another place that needs help. It's like... sounds like the game that you don't talk about that eventually comes out as being true. It makes more of apparent sense as far as a truth. Like, come on now. What's with these contractors? And I'm not going to go into it.
Well, they're not doing it to spread America everywhere.
if he truly believes that, then
I
he's
think
been duped himself.
most likely throughout history, that's been a big excuse for many other empires. We're spreading Christianity. We're spreading this. We're spreading that. You're spreading your dick everywhere. And
Yeah,
you're
I
taking
don't think
control.
ideals are the
No.
leading
And the ones
the
that
leading
did-
motive.
Yeah. The ones that do claim
We
it.
need to spread democracy so that African nations can have higher standards of living. So what we'll do is we'll go over there, steal all their natural resources, and plant a flag. There's my flag.
What we'll do is we'll go over there. We'll set up a company to take away. I mean, help relocate the resources of abundance.
There's not enough flags in this country.
You guys need golf.
You are the one who is refusing to say, yeah, I would use violence to ensure that my state exists. You can't state that outright. So you then explain,
Because
well,
we're not talking about anything that is. If you ask me simple questions like, "Are you about to engage in violence? Do you think that attacking the U.S. government in a full frontal?"
So you want simple questions?
That is a simple question. It's just something that's too.
Today or tomorrow in the foreseeable future.
It brings down his whole thing.
Really easily. No, that is.
The tower is shaking.
Immoral,
So-
it's counterproductive.
This is the questions he wants. Questions like, well, let's say everything. There's no more weapons in the world, and you just non-violently took your country, named it a white country, and then if you could non-violently ask them to leave where no one gets hurt at all, you get $1 billion. Every supermodel wants to have sex with you. Would you like that? That's the question he wants.
This is what it is. This is what he wants. I like this is what he wants to be. Okay.
No, it's not.
Okay, Mr. Kimmel. Have you presented the questions and rhetoric? Yes, sir. Yes, I have. Okay. Makeup and everything. Good. And if you mess up, you're gonna die. A month from now. Welcome to Jimmy Kimmel Live. As I the president.
How dare you?
What?
No, I'm just-
Been talking about because we were talking about
Bringing the truth?
hypotheticals. We're
It's
talking
okay.
It's speculative
I'm
inherently.
marked already.
And to just, I'm not gonna answer a hypothetical in that sense. What I have said is very, very clear, and that is that the future of my people is non-negotiable. And also, when there are these
What does that
paradigmatic changes,
That means he'll do
there
anything.
are
Yeah,
often
but he's not
battles
answering the
for
question
power.
that basically
I'm also
is resulting in what he's
based on
saying.
Because it'll make him sound
Don't
bad.
seem to
And he knows
agree
that.
with, but I
Which makes me think he's an actor.
Either that
I think
or-
you do maybe in your heart, and that is
The thing I fear the most.
trajectory of this
Like
country
in his
towards
fantasy of things, it just have like, all you minorities, will you just leave? Okay, cool. All right, guys, we're leaving. That's his fantasy of it. Instead of people like, I've been here before you were even born, man.
I would have to agree. I do believe he's an actor. If he wasn't, I believe I would have gotten very different answers.
It's either acting / corruption or severely ignorant and innocence.
I would say acting and corruption. Acting because it does involve ignorance. Like, dude,
Oh yes.
like
but-
listen, look. If it gets down to it, and let's say he loves someone, and then you start there.
What do you mean?
If he's one of those guys that, let's say he's like, if he's one of those guys that like tries to murder, like in a sense does murder themselves, but they still have a family and they love them, and they're capable of that, then it's like, oh, so you care for them, and you start there. It's like, don't you see how what you're doing is wrong?
Mm,
I wouldn't start there, but I'm saying is like what you can do is like, oh look,
Oh, I just
he's not one of those guys that are truly like what would you say indulged in that whole little field. Which even if they do have a kid and a prop family, meaning I'll have this just to have it and it's there. Well, that's something. That's a whole other thing, which is very, very, very dark.
well, what happened? I would just go into moral questions, which would expose him one way or another.
That's what I was implying.
either expose him to himself in a way, or
Well,
expose him to other people.
I mean exposing as far as whether you're an actor or whether you're dead inside.
Either way, it would be exposed.
Well, yeah. I just meant specifics. You know.
Agitation.
I disagree with that. I really disagree with that.
Equal hostility, and it is breaking down on ethnic and to a lesser degree class lines.
I disagree with that. That's not my vantage point. But I'm not going to say we don't have to get into a whole debate, and that's your vantage point, and that's of course the foundation upon which your ideology is founded upon. But I disagree with that. But you know what? I think that I want to thank you for taking this time. It's we've been debating for an hour and a half, and Richard, I want to thank you for taking the time to speak with me, and I want to thank everyone for watching, and have a great day. Thank you so much for the discussion.
Yes.
What? What?
Thank you for the respectful discussion. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Richard.
Oh my.
Any closing statements? 'Cause I think I said all I had to say during the process.
Yeah. This is creepy. No, really. I think he's an actor. I feel like if someone's at the door, someone may answer. There's just a whole cloud of ignorance. Really. Yeah, I would say so.
I just think it's just to ask him moral questions and he'll fall on his face
Probably.
or run away.
Probably.
Either way, people who aspire to be like him or try to think like him,
Fans, you mean?
fans or whatever, will be like, he didn't answer those questions.
No, he completely avoided them.
Yeah. As soon as he takes a step forward, any other
It's like this.
historical question,
It's like, what's that?
okay.
Violence? It's like,
Alright, thanks for watching. Subscribe so I can debate these assholes.